Well, I'm not gonna beat on the bush anymore. Let's start with the number. Well, how many teams are in there? 13? 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 12. Number 12 team. Anyone want to guess who my number 12 team is for NA? Would anybody like to guess? This guy said shock. Come on, let's be real here, chat. Let's be real here, chat. As much as this team does have a friend of mine on the team, like okay, that reminds me. I need to do a disclaimer. Listen, a lot of these teams, listen, if you're a player and you happen to be watching or you're a fan of the team, listen, this is just my objective. This is my opinion, okay? Listen, I have nothing against you and your fan base. I have nothing against you as a person or a player. This is just what I think, okay? Disclaimer. DMs are turned off. I don't want any threatening messages, okay? I would like to do this without being threatened. That would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Please and thank you. All right, let's continue. Number 20 team, number 12 team, the Vancouver Titans. And I guess we can kind of split it off into, we'll kind of do subsets of, we'll do coaches, DPS, tanks, and supports. And I'll start off with DPS. So they have Dalton, Teru, and Linkser, right? And while I do think I don't know much about Teru, but from what I've heard, Teru is a pretty good player. So this pickup right here was pretty essential to this team. I feel like because dude, even though they're already at the bottom, I would have rated them much lower without click roll. Oh, nice. Thanks, the Foxen. Appreciate that. Teru's a big pickup. They desperately needed like an actual flex player. So Teru kind of fills in that role. And then you kind of have Linkser, the veteran, what's the word for it? Flick scan player. I think you guys know what I mean by flick scan, right? Kind of your Kree Ash Widow. Your Kree Ash Widow player. And then you have Dalton, who kind of does like a mix of that and Tracer. If anything, I think DPS is probably the strongest part of this roster. If I had to pick one of the groups, I'd probably say DPS is the strongest part of the roster because I do think even though Linkser's been around and he's been considered kind of your inconsistent player, I actually think he had a relatively good season last year. So whether he can continue that has yet to be seen. It's gonna kind of rely on, can Dalton play Tracer, right? And I know Dalton has a good Tracer. Will Tracer be meta for a large period of time? And how good will he be compared to the rest of the league? Guessing it's flashing. What is this? Oh, it's the okay. How do I get night mode? Dark Reader on Chrome. Here, Dark Reader. It turns everything that's white in Chrome to dark mode. Dark Reader on Chrome. That's how I got dark mode. Okay, so yeah, I think DPS is the strongest parts. I think Linkser is a very good sniper player. I think Dalton's a good tracer, and while I don't know much about Teru personally, I've heard good things about him being a good flex player. So I do think the DPS is relatively okay, but compared to the rest of the league, it's still probably not going to be enough to stand up to the top. Even some of the middle pack teams, in my opinion. Here's where I kind of again, I feel so awkward doing this right now because it's coming from a former player, and these are like a lot of these people I have like relationships with. But I have to be objective. I have to be honest, and I have to like state my opinion. I don't think Rolf's very, very good. I'm not really sure the reason of why Well, I kind of know the reason why they kept Rolf, mainly because I think it has to do with the all the way down here, the coaching staff staying and the relationship that they've had built up. But if you had handed me the keys, right? If you dangled the keys in front of me and said, "Okay, listen, here's the Vancouver Titans. You have no money. You can drop everybody, or like you can do whatever you want," I would have dropped everybody from the roster. I would have done clean slate, started somewhere completely fresh instead of trying to hold on to the last scraps of the second wind roster and trying to build around Rolf, Dalton, and Shredlock. I would have started completely anew. I wouldn't have kept any of these players. Maybe you can make an argument for Dalton staying. I just don't. These two. Do you think these two players were one of the earliest re-signed players in the league? You guys remember that? Like when off-season moves started happening, like these two were like immediately re-signed. Like there was like no hesitation. They re-signed them in the first like 2 days of the off-season. Like they gave it absolutely no thought. That's what's crazy to me. That's what's crazy to me about the Vancouver Titans. It's that they didn't really put any consideration into replacing this core. They just immediately re-signed them, no hesitation, which I think was a big mistake in my opinion. And I wouldn't have done that if it were up to me. But obviously it's not. So I'm not huge on Rolf. And obviously, like, listen, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you when I have biases towards players, but I think Fire is a piece that they really needed. I think Fire is well-rounded on all the heroes. He's not amazing in any sense. I don't think he's going to be a mechanical freak on the main support and hard carry you fights, but I think Fire is a really good fight leader. He's a really good ult tracker. He's good at he's good at getting the best out of what talent you have on the roster. So like, if you have a great roster, Fire's going to make sure that they're great, right? If you have a bad roster, I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not saying he's going to make them bad, but Fire's not going to be the one piece that's going to turn your bad roster into a good one, you know? But I think Fire's underrated. Yo, Mama Mercy, next I'm going to sub to Statistical Infernance. Appreciate it. But I like Fire. Obviously, I'm biased. I was teammates in I was teamed with Fire for like 2.5 years. So I'm very obviously going to be biased here. But I think Fire was a good pickup for this team. And then we'll kind of go down to the tank line in Shredlock and Fried. And I kind of already dabbled into the whole Shredlock thing earlier. Or am I considering any scrim bucks in your rankings or purely from outside? Purely from outside and from what what experience I had from before. I know nothing about scrim bucks this year. I haven't asked and I don't really care. Obviously, I could get that information, but it just doesn't really bother me. I don't really care for it. Now going back to Shred, like I actually don't think he had a terrible year last year. I don't think so. Like he wasn't good in my opinion. I wouldn't say he was a good main tank, but I also don't think he was bad. I could be wrong in that assessment, but from what I remember, he wasn't like feeding or anything. He was just kind of there. That's why I would put it. He was just kind of there. So I don't know a whole bunch. He seemed decent, but his flexibility is going to come into question this year. If I remember correctly, they ended up playing a lot of double shield. I guess everybody played a lot of double shield. But Treadlock was okay. I feel like you could have made an upgrade at this position. But again, that remains to be seen. So we'll see how Treadlock plays. And then Fried Wiener. And I think Fried kind of goes in the same category as Fire from what I've heard. I think I've heard Fried's a very good emotional leader. And I think I say this a lot about rosters. But I think every team needs one player who makes the game fun. So a funny guy, whatever you want to call it. Examples for me are Lashro and Crimzo. Those are players that I played with over the years that made the game fun, funny. Trolls, call it whatever you want to call it. I think every team needs one of those. And I also think every team needs an emotional leader. And an example I point to myself. And I kind of think Fried gives both. I think Fried kind of gives both to this roster. If you guys want some juice, you guys want to hear some juice? I'll give you some juice. The last two off tanks they were reciting for Season 4 was between Fried Wiener and yours truly. So pain, yeah, it happens. But I think Fried is a good player. I don't know much about his like individual hero strengths really. I think if I remember, he's pretty well rounded, but I don't think he's insane at any of the three. Like I don't think he has an insane Sigma. I don't think he has an insane Zarya. I don't think he has an insane Diva. I think he's very okay. But again, from what I've heard, he's a very big emotional leader and kind of like the funny guy for the team. So I think that goes a long way. I think that goes a long way for a roster. then we'll talk about the coaching staff. It's kind of just second wind. I think they end up. Who did they get rid of? Was it Wheat? Who coaches AT now? I think it was Wheats was the one they got rid of. But this is basically just second wind, so not a whole lot to say here. I don't have a lot of experience with him. My time with him was very, very limited, so nothing I can really say for the coaching roster. But all things considered, I think this team's going to struggle even against middle of the pack teams. Like, I think just the skill level itself just isn't there across the board. I think there are some bright spots in this roster, but I don't think there's anything that's gonna convince me that they can, really hang with even like average teams in the league. So the Vancouver Titans all the way down at the bottom for me. Do I think Yazan deserves to play in OW? He is goated on EU. Doesn't he only play Farah? No. If you only play Farah, then no. I do not think you deserve to play in OW. Do not think so. Plays Echo. Does he play Echo to the same level he plays Farah? I doubt that. Still, even if you play Farah and Echo, that's you can't just play Sky Heroes and be in the league. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's really feasible. All right, so that's the number 12 team for NA. I'm also gonna tier them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna kind of do like tiers like this. You know what I mean? I want to give tier breaks. So number 11 now. So let's pull up the Wikipedia page. Again, any guesses on what the number 11 team it will be? Dude, I feel like everybody's bottom is very similar. I feel like everybody has the same bottom. I don't think I've seen someone do a list that I haven't agreed with. But yeah, it's gonna be. Let me close this. It's gonna be the Paris Eternal. Yeah, for me it's a relatively easy bottom. There's not a lot of. I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. Valiant's an APAC. So again, I'm going to sort it by roles. Actually, I should start with coaching staff. I feel like. Again, kind of some juice. This is a team I wouldn't say I extensively trialed with, but I played in trials a good bit. Like I would say a decent bit, like for a couple of weeks. And there was tons of dude, how many coaches that they had? Like at least like 10 or 12 different coaches. And from what I know about Get Amazed, from what people have said, like obviously he didn't really work with me when we did trials, but he's kind of like your how do I put it? Kind of like your strong-armed leader in a sense. I can't really speak to his game sense, but that isn't always what's important for head coaches. Kind of like a French budget packing. That's how I think of this guy. Like that's just from what I've heard. That's just kind of the image I have in my head. Like Packing's game knowledge wasn't insane. Like he wasn't gonna hard carry your team. He wasn't gonna hard carry your team through strict in-game knowledge. He wasn't gonna like put together all the strats and work it out. I think this is kind of what J-Max for. And then this guy's Get Him is just kind of there to just keep the troops together and not do head coach stuff, which I think is fine. We'll see if that's good enough or not. Obviously, it's very hard for me to speak to coaches' skill and what they do or don't do because I don't have actual experience with any of these people. But I do have a little snippet. I do have a little bit of info on JMac because I worked with Dark Mode, who he coached before in the Gauntlet, and that dude puts in work. I'll tell you right now. JMac's very smart, and he puts in a lot of work. So I don't want to say either one of these guys is more valuable, but I think who is going to contribute more to the team is going to be JMac because I've seen the books that the guy's writes for matches. Like if this guy continues to put in the amount of work that he did for Dark Mode, Yeah, I took a look at it, Ned. Like, this shit's insane. Like, J-Mac is going to be an absolute asset to the Parachute Journal. So I think it's an absolutely great pickup for the team. All right, let's talk about the roster. Start the DPS. So from what I understand, Naga is your pure flex, Oni is your flick scan, and Suna is your tracer, right? So that's kind of how it goes. And the actual highlight of the roster, I thought going into the year that it would be Oni, but I actually rate Suna's tracer. Like, no cap. I actually think Suna's a pretty decent tracer. Obviously, I wouldn't put him at the top of the league. I'd say it average. But that's still saying a lot for the Overwatch League. If you're an average tracer in the Overwatch League, it's still pretty good. I think Suna has a pretty solid tracer. But that's really all I know about him. I don't think I've seen him play any other hero. All I really saw him was on tracer. So, again, the teams are all kind of assembled the same when it comes to DPS. I feel like you have your flex, you have your flick scan, and you have your tracer. Like, I feel like almost every team has that kind of hierarchy of DPS. That's generally just how it goes. Oni, how long did Oni play with Dallas? Like, how many matches did he play? I really can't remember. I feel like it wasn't a whole ton. I felt like he was okay when he played, but he played on the Dallas that was absolutely falling apart. So it's really hard to say. Oni has a pretty good tracer too. So I would say that Soon is for sure better. I think Oni is one of the tracers that has like the aim to be a tracer, but not like the brains and like the movement to be the tracer. You know what I mean? I think Suna kind of has that more like, what's the word for it? Just movement, really, like the movement for tracer. Where Oni has like probably better pure aim. Yeah, that's kind of how I put it. Oni will be okay. I feel like I think Oni has the skill to be good, but I don't think Oni is going to be a DPS that's ever going to hold you back. But it's I kind of rate these two kind of at like the same level. Like, I don't think they're amazing by any means, but they're okay. Like, I think Naga and Oni will do fine. Like, I don't think they're going to hold their team back, but I also don't think these are DPS players that are going to pop off and going to hard carry fights for this team. Like, I just don't see that happening. At the level that the Overwatch League is at now. Again, like the kind of like the standard that I rate players, like at the very top, it's like, are you gonna make plays like Striker? Are you gonna make plays like KSP? Are you gonna make, can they reach those heights? And for me, these two, it's no. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'll do fine, but I don't think they're gonna be I don't think they're gonna be heavy hitters by any stretch of the imagination. So their DPS line's okay. I think it's okay. So let's go on to the supports. We have Neptuno, and then we have Khan. We'll talk about Neptuno first. Neptuno is, again, he kind of fills the role that most main supports kind of do. At least on Western rosters, where the mechanics of these players, like your Neptunos and Fires, aren't like insane. Like, I don't think these guys have insane mechanics by any stretch of the imagination, but they're relatively flexible. They can kind of play like all three. They can play the Lucio, they can play the Mercy, they can play the Brig, all kind of at a decent-ish level, right? They can play okay. But kind of where your value from these players is the experience and the shot calling and the ult tracking. That's kind of just how like Western main supports have been. Like, I would say the only other examples that don't really stick to that mold are Moth and FD God. I think everybody else is kind of in this like meh mechanical good caller. That's kind of how I feel about Neptuno. And then Khan. I think Khan, without a shadow of a doubt, is the most skilled player on this roster. And I don't even think it's close. I'm gonna be real. I don't even think it's close. I saw this guy play in trials. I've seen this guy play matches. This guy's a freak. He's pretty good. He's pretty damn good. Like, I think he'll make a case for being the best Western flex support this season. I think that's not a. I don't think that's a hot take, in my opinion. I didn't really watch him a whole lot before trials and stuff, but Now, like just from what I've seen, this guy has all the right tools. Just can he apply it throughout the whole season? Is the question. Better than Grimzo? I think there's potential for that. Bold claim? I don't think so. What are the Western flex supports in the Overwatch League? Grimzo? I can't even name a whole bunch off the top of my head. Korean. Western, Korean. Like, there's a couple. Crimzo, Ripa, Khan, and Rolf. Yeah, I don't think that's a stretch to say Khan can be the best out of that group. I'm sorry. That's not really saying much. I think Crimzo right now out of that group is definitely the best out of those four, but I think Khan can definitely get to that level or higher, in my opinion. If I had to put a gold star on any of these pickups, I'd say it's this guy right here. I think he's a freak. I think he's really good. Now, going to the tanks. Now, coming from a D.Va one trick, let me just say, I would put Ellie in the same kind of category as me, where I feel like I think he's pretty fucking good at D.Va, but everything else is pretty uninspiring. I don't think his Sigma's very good. I don't think his Zarya is very good, but I think it's good D.Va. So, in metas where D.Va's good, I think Ellie will be positive. I think he'll be a plus for the team. I think he'll do good. But like, it's kind of where I struggled last year. Like, when these hero pools come around and D.Va's not viable or D.Va's banned, I think he's gonna struggle. I think he's gonna fall behind. I think he's gonna be below average in the tank line. And that also transitioned to Don. Like, I've really, from what I've seen, all I've really seen him play is ball. I haven't seen him really play a bunch of Rhine. I haven't seen him play a bunch of Winston. For what I know, he's a really good ball, and everything else is kind of like, okay. So for me, the tank line isn't very flexible. Will there potentially be some metas where, the really good heroes are synced up and that's all you play? Sure, I think so. But that's not going to happen very often. And I think the tank line's going to kind of be a liability at times. Is Suna good? Suna has a good tracer, in my opinion. But I think that's about all he'll be used for what I know. But I do think his tracer is good and potentially slightly underrated. Could be wrong, but that's just from my experience. Again, all of these are just for what I know, I can kind of see why like other people do like hand this off, because this is a lot of talking. This is a lot of talking for one person to do. Who is coaching this team? Get Amazed and J-Mac. We talked about it, but I like J-Mac. Not really sure on Get Amazed. There are so many good tracers. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think Suna's a good tracer. I think he'll average maybe a tiny bit below average. But like, he's good. I think he'll do his job on tracer. He'll make some plays, but I don't think he's not gonna be your striker. He's not gonna be your Shax. He's not gonna be your Yaki. Not gonna be your Prophet. He'll never touch those levels, in my opinion. Water check? Yeah, I have a bunch of water stored up, so we'll be good. But yeah, this is my 11th tier team. And to be honest, I think they could potentially even compete to be the last team in the league. I don't have them much higher, I don't have them much higher than Vancouver. I think this is very close between 12 and 11. I think either of these teams could be swapped, really. All right. Now here's where you get, no, not really. Again, I think number 10 team's kind of cut and dry for me. Because this is kind of where the skill differential in terms of roster kind of comes apart. I think number 10 is very easy, in my opinion. What? This is unorganized, Baha. We haven't organized this, okay? Look. See? This hasn't been organized. Number 10 team, though. Wikipedia is the London Spitfire. Now, I would have put this team lower if my guy Johannes Nielsen here wasn't picked up. I probably would have put them lower. Shaq's quite literally bumped his team up by a whole spot, in my opinion. All right, let's kind of get into it. Holy shit. What is this? What am I looking at? Staff. Okay, so they have a British consultant. They got head of... what is this? Okay, they got 3 coaches, an assistant manager, general... Good God. Okay. Well, let's talk about Fisher. I like Fisher. Fisher, I think me and Fisher are friends. I don't really know anything about his ability to coach. I don't know how good he is a coach, but for what I know him as a person, as a player, I think he's probably a pretty good coach, at least at the Western standards. So, fine. Who's all ranked so far? The bottom, just these 2. I'm going bottom to top. I know fuck all about this guy. I'm not gonna say anything about him because I know nothing about him. And then Reprise. Reprise is quite literally, again, bias is coming through here. Reprise is quite literally the person I've known the longest in esports. I've known Reprise for since I was 16, 8 years, super long time. Now I will try to be a little unbiased here. I don't know how good of a head coach he is. No idea. He's never been in that role for me. I've never seen him in that role. He's always been kind of what was the coach he was for Valiant? He was kind of the personal, kind of talking to the players, kind of being the gap between players and coaches, you know? He was very personable. He was very good at talking about people's feelings. He was very good at the one-on-one stuff. He knew how to cut through the bullshit and talk to the players. Will that apply to him being a good head coach? I have no idea. I generally don't know. I haven't seen him in that role, but I do think he's capable of doing that. So I do think if Spitfire is to go higher this year, I think it'll be a lot on Reprise. And all this, doesn't matter. So let's grow up and talk about the roster. All right, so technically Sparker's also part of the roster. We'll include him in this because he'll eventually come up when the time is right. So we have Hybrid, Shax, Blase, and Sparker. Now, I don't really know how this DPS line works. I'm gonna be real. When I look at DPS lineups, a lot of them are very, like I said, cut and dry, and it's all kind of the same. It's all kind of the same for me. But here, Shax is undoubtedly the tracer, but at the same time, does he play over Hybrid? I feel like they play the tournaments. I think they've shown that Shax is gonna play 1,000% of the time, right? As far as I'm concerned, you could just, from what I understand of this roster, you could just do this. You could just do this. I think that's what they've shown. Listen, I'm not trying to rag the guy. That's just kind of how I see how this roster playing out. Shax is gonna play hard, everything hit scan, right? Blase is gonna be your flex, and then Sparker's gonna be your hard flick scan when he comes in. But let's just talk about the meta now. The meta now is Rush. You play Mei Cree. You have Blase on the Mei, Shax on the Cree, and other maps you play double sniper sometimes. Sometimes play Echo Tracer, but again, that's just Blase Shax. I just don't see a world where this guy plays. I think when Sparker comes in, I think there's potential that he plays the flick scan for the team. But I think Shax, I think Reprise, better than anyone else in the world, knows how good Shax is. He's been with Shax since Mayhem Academy and Valiant from Season 2 to Season 3. Reprise and Shax, that's fucking Shaq and Kobe. You know what I mean? It's like the 1-2. You know what I'm saying? They've been around for fucking forever. So that's kind of the dynamic duo, and I feel like Reprise is probably a little biased towards Shax. So I feel like Shax is probably playing 100% of the time, and I don't disagree with that. I think Shax is nuts. I don't think he's just limited to being just a tracer player, although he does have a top 5 tracer in the world. Um, so Shax brings the like, dude. If this was a chart, London Spitfire's DPS levels before Shax were like here. With Shax, it's like I think the ceiling like doubles. I think the skill level like doubled with this guy in the roster. I am very high on Shax. I played with Shax for a very long time. Was Hybrid just meant to fill in for Sparker until they got Shax? That's how I read the situation. But again, that's just my guess. No idea. That could be wrong. I mean, I'm definitely biased towards Shax, but I think everybody saw what Shax can do last year. So, that's about Ripa and Kelix. Now, again, I'm gonna talk about Kelix first. Again, Kelix fits in the same fucking Western man support category. Kelix will not carry you mechanically on any hero, but he's decent at like all of them, at least from what I know. Like, it's the same shit. It's the same guy. They might as well be the same players. Like, they're decent. They're like average to decent at all the heroes, and they're good at calling. That's like all I can say. That's like it's the same shit. They're all like the main supports are all the fucking same if you're Western. Kellic started in Boston, yeah, and it was kind of the same thing. I feel like he was kind of like the leader of the team, while also being like okay mechanically. He never dragged you down mechanically, but he wasn't making big plays. Now Ripa. From what I understand, Ripa's like, I actually don't know much about Ripa. I feel like out of everybody in this roster, I have a hard time getting an opinion of the guy. He was on Glad's season 2, benched for Shaz. And not to like go digging up a grave of a retired player, but Shaz wasn't that great, in my opinion. I don't think he was that great. Maybe Ripa's gotten better. I mean, Ripa could definitely have gotten better since. For what I know, Ripa's good mechanically, not a huge caller. Kind of a quiet, good mechanical player. Now, I don't know about his flexibility. So I think he's okay. Like, if I had to give him like a rating, like maybe like a C+. But again, like the skill level of the league right now is just so high. I struggle to say like this guy is like amazing. You know what I mean? I think he kind of fits in the same Western support category. He's like decent to good mechanically, but he's not gonna card carry you ever. I don't think the support line has any carry potential, in my opinion. I think they're, again, average to below average. Yo, Hucklebuck, thanks for the 3 months. Thanks for the prime, dude. I appreciate that. It's just like, when I'm talking about these players, I'm not trying to shit on them, but I'm just like, if we go through it, like, let's just talk about the flex supports, right? Okay, Fielder and Repel, and I'm not even huge on Fielder and Repel. Crimzo, Myungbong, Shu, Lastro and Aztec, Violet, Twilight, Gangnam Jin, Iris, and Bebe. Like, I wouldn't rate him over any of those players. Not a single one of them. Maybe Repel. I'd rate him higher than Repel, but I don't think Repel's gonna play the game. So it's just he's gonna be the bottom half of the league. It's just how it is. Like, I don't think the support line has the skill to push past that. Like, as a whole, this team is like synergy. This team's picked up for synergy, right? Like, I really, really doubt London was looking at this team, their academy team, and like, man, these guys are like the best at all their roles. Like, the highlight of this team was they played together for a long time, they have good synergy, and they're decent enough. And they're cheap. All right? That's a big selling point for this team. And they're cheap. They're Western, so they're cheap. That's why this team got picked up. They're fucking cheap. Going out and building some motherfucking super team, not cheap. This is a cheap team. All right, so let's wrap it up. I'm taking too long on London. We have Hottie and Mulf. Molf, good Sigma, really good Sigma. From what I've seen. I haven't seen much of his other tanks. I've heard he also has a decent diva, but I think Molf's highlights have been Sigma, and then Hadi. I think a lot of people praise Hadi for his ball gameplay, but I haven't heard much outside of that as well. So I think they're really prominent in the ball Sigma meta, but I haven't heard a whole bunch about them outside of that. But again, it kind of fits into like all these other categories, like specifically supports. Like I don't think they're amazing mechanically. Like I don't think they're gonna be huge mechanical freaks for this team. But the synergy's good. They've played for a while. They have a couple decent heroes. Like the tank line's pretty good. I think relatively to the team, I think the tank line's pretty good. I just don't see this team reaching into this mid tier. This is just an example. I don't see them reaching up here ever. These Europeans with Ryan's probably good. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Not wrong. But I feel like every Korean tank, like Western main tanks, get by in rush meta because they're pretty decent at Rhine, they're decent at rush. But as soon as like high level Winston play is on the fucking board and you need that, Western main tanks just fall apart, man. Like they just absolutely crumble every time. Every time. Koreans just play Winston, man. They just know how to play Winston. I don't know what it is. They're just good at Winston. That's all. Frag case in point. Yeah, I mean EU's just good at Ryan. That's just kind of how it is. Now I actually need to start thinking here. I really need to start thinking. Like, do I? It's just. I think this is a tier break. Like, I think this is a tier break here. Like, I think these three are gonna like hold down your bottom. These three are gonna hold down your bottom. And I think out of the three, if I had to pick a team that can reach higher, it's London. But they're kind of all in the same tier for me. Now, the second tier is kind of where things get a little squirrely. I've made my decision. Any guesses for who the 9th team will be in NA? Any guesses? Okay, a lot of people kind of agree with me here, or had my idea pinned. If it's Houston, I'm riding. The Houston Outlaws. All right. Underrating Houston? I don't think so. And I'll explain why. Okay. Here we go. Completely non-biased. I have people in here that I'm friends with. Here's how this goes. Happy? Hard hit scan. But I think Happy is the best player on the roster. By far. I think Happy's the best player on the roster by far. I don't even know if it's close. I'm going to be real. I don't even know if it's close. I think Happy does not belong here. He's better than Dante. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of like relative skill, yeah. This is just, I don't think he belongs here. I think he deserves to be on a better team, to be honest. It just, okay. Let's dive deep into DPS, okay, right? Jake never plays. Okay? I think that's just kind of how it is. Like, you've seen him practicing support. He's kind of your fill player. He's kind of slot in wherever, but how I see Jake is he's a coach. I see Jake as a coach. I don't really see this guy ever playing the game. I could be wrong, but I don't see Jake ever playing the game. Maybe in super niche scenarios they play Jake. I really just don't think so. If they have to go back to playing Jake on this roster, that's a failure as a whole, in my opinion. Now, I'm trying to think about everyone's hero pools here, okay? I'm trying give me a second. I'm trying to think about everybody's hero pools, what they're good at. How much do you rate coaching? I mean, I rate coaching, but I rate coaching, but your team still needs to have a very high skill level. Coaching only gets you so far. You can't coach bad players into being a top team. Just not possible. Does Hydration ever even play? I think so. The player I'm thinking about, does KSF ever play? That's my question. Why is it so big now? What the fuck? That shit's chunky. Does Kyle ever play? That's my question. Does he ever play? So I'm trying to think about hero pools, right? So Kyle's a good Mei. He's a good Hangzhou. Decent Genji. Am I missing heroes? I mean, Kyle, when Kyle like puts his mind to playing hit scan, I actually think he's a relatively decent hit scan. But like, he would never play over Happy in hit scan. He could be the player that like you play in like double hits. No, Torb. Yeah, you don't. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's very hard to say. These two are kind of interlinked. I think Hydration and KSF are kind of like in the same slot. These two will never be in the game together. This is kind of like your flex DPS role in one or in two players. Happy's your hard hit scan, and then Dante's your flanker player. He's gonna play your Sombra. He's gonna play your Tracer. He's gonna play your Echo. Dante does not play for anything else. Like, Dante plays Tracer, Sombra, Echo, maybe Genji, maybe. But those three heroes, Dante plays Doom. Dante will never play Doom over Hydration. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. Dante doesn't play Doom. He's not good at Doom. I'll just say it. I'm sorry. If Dante sees this, I'm sorry. He plays Doom in some ranked, but no, he doesn't play Doom. I'll tell you right now, he does not play Doom. He will play Mei and Rush? You think Dante is going to play Mei and Rush? Really? No. Absolutely not. Hydration will play Mei, or KSF will play Mei. Dante will never play Mei and Rush. I'd put money on that. I would put money that Dante never plays a minute of Mei. Dante will play Tracer. He will play Echo. He'll play Sombra. Those three. He'll play those three heroes. Yo, Zave Crave, thanks for tier 1, man. I appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Those are three heroes that Dante will play, in my opinion. KSF can play KSF can play Hanzo and maybe Mei. I don't know who's better between Hydration and KSF with the Mei. I really don't. It could be, but I'd probably give it to Hydration. I'd probably say Hydration plays the Mei. Like, if Houston were going to the season and it's Mei Cream meta, Happy plays, Hydration plays. Everybody else, fuck them. That's just the start of the season. That's just how it goes. Who'd play Genji? That's another great topic for debate. This is what makes me kind of mad about this team. Why do they have 5 DPS players on their roster and then 1-2, 1-2? I just don't like that. I'm not a big fan of building their roster out that way. There's so many question marks, and I feel like even the team itself probably doesn't know. I'll be real. Even the team itself probably doesn't know. Everybody's hero pools are so similar, and there's so much crossover. Like, how do you make the argument to play who on what map and against what team? It's way too much work, and I'm not a big fan of how this DPS roster was built out. I'm big on Happy. I think Dante's pretty good, and I think, like I said earlier, that Hydration and KSF together make a good flex DPS. But again, when do you play each? And then Jake's kind of irrelevant, like in terms of playing DPS. I'm just not. I'm just gonna say I'm just not a fan of how Houston built out their roster. Like, not at all. Like, maybe they signed Jake to be like, yo, Jake, you're really good at everything. You can maybe play support, you can maybe play tank, but if you have to do that, you are just, I think you fucked yourself on just a catastrophic level. Like, if you ever have to play Jake in a support for like Juby, like what's going on, man? Like why? Why not just not sign 5 DPS and sign a 3rd support? I'm just not. I don't like how they built the roster at all. I'm not a fan. Their DPS lineup has a lot of potential to be good, but again, how do you know when to play each player on the roster? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think this team knows either, and I think they'll struggle because of it. Happy Genji? No, Happy will never play Genji. Happy is gonna play Hitscan. Happy will play McCree. He'll play Ashe. He'll play Widow. That's what Happy will play. Seems Jake is trying to fill some sort of weakness Juby has on support. I hope that's not the case. Like, if you, like, scout your players. So you scout Juby out of Collegiate, right? You're like, man, Juby is up next. This guy's the future. He can play everything. Like, boom. We don't need another support. We have just these two. We have tons of faith in these two. But then you go halfway through the offseason, like, man, Juby can't play whatever hero, Brig. Fuck, he can't play Brig. Oh, well, now we need the guy we signed as a player coach to play Brig now? But now you have no flexibility because Jake just, like, only plays Brig in this. I don't know. I just don't like it. Again, I don't like how this roster is constructed. I'm going to move on from DPS. Let's talk about Crimzo and Juby. I'm big on Crimzo. I think Crimzo had for what Dallas was last year, I think Crimzo had a very good year. I think he was a very good player. Will he do any better than what he did last year? I'm not sure. I think Crimzo's good, though. Like, not setting bias aside from what I know of Crimzo is a very good player. I think he showed that last year. And for what I know, Crimzo is a very aggressive player. And generally, the best players are the aggressive ones that want to really push the advantage and make aggressive plays. So I think Crimzo's... Also, I said it. I talked about it earlier, but each roster needs a leader, and they need a funny guy. And this guy right here, definitely your funny guy. Crimzo's definitely your funny guy. And I've heard Juby's the funny guy, too. Listen, if I gotta say anything about the positives of the support line, the support line's funny. They're gonna make the game fun to play, okay? And that is very important for... Dude, let me not understate. Having fun while scrimming, essential. It's essential. If you play a whole year of Overwatch League and you're not having fun in scrims, you will not be a good team. You're probably not a good team if you're not having fun. Who's the funny guy for dark mode? Well, based off our results, I think they would show that we did not have a funny guy. Who was the funny guy back on LA Valiant? Lastro. It was Lastro. Lastro was the funny guy. Oh, dude, I have so many screenshots of things Lastro said. So many screenshots. But yeah, okay, so like Crimzo, good. He's got a good Ana. He's got a good Zen. I don't know much about his BAP. Probably decent. I don't know much about Crimzo's BAP, but he's got a good Ana Zen. I think Crimzo's a good player. I think he's good for the team. So I'm high on Crimzo. I don't know much about Juby. Like, I've heard good things about Juby, and I like Juby. I think Juby, when I think, like I said, I kind of divide Western main supports into two groups. You have the kind of mechanical good leader players, and then you kind of have like the Western main supports, like the FD God and Moth, right? That's kind of like, those are like the two groups, right? You have FD God, Moth, and then everyone else. And I think Juby is like one of the players that can kind of like sit on the fence, and he can either fall into this group or he could be the next one of these. Like, I think he has that potential, like, from what I've heard and what I've seen. Like, I think he has that potential. I think he's kind of on the fence. Now, I don't know which side he sits on at the moment. Oh, funny Astro. I don't know. How have I forgot Astro? Yeah, Astro. Sorry. I knew I was forgetting somebody. Funny Astro. Yeah, these three. This is kind of how it sits, right? You have your FD God, Moth, Astro, and then everyone else. And now Juby's kind of sitting in the middle, where I think he has the potential to land in this group here, but I also think he could fall and land in this group here. So, Juby, sky's the fucking limit. Sky's the fucking limit, right? I think Juby could be the next up-and-comer Western main support. Definitely potential for that. This season will be crucial to see if that happens or not. but I can't say for sure which side he'll sit on. And then we have Piggy and Django. And now I didn't watch a ton of Team Talon games when these guys played. But from what I know about Piggy is good Sigma, good Zarya. Not amazing at Diva. From what I hear. But good Sigma. But I think the Diva is probably where you're lacking. And listen, Diva one trick. Yo, right here. Diva one trick right here. You need to be able to play Diva in the Overwatch League. Period. If you ever have to question your Diva play in the Overwatch League, you're probably fucked. And I'm not saying Piggy's at that level, but from what I've heard, it's his weakest hero of the bunch. So I'd really like to see if those weaknesses, the Diva weakness, gets shored up, because it's going to be essential if this team's going to push any higher than where I have them, that this guy plays Diva at a high level. And Django. Django is DPS main turned off turn main trick, right? Yeah. He used to play DPS, yeah? How long ago was it? I don't remember. Used to be flex DPS player. Oh, 2019. So he's been main tank for a while. Okay, years ago. What I know about Django, I remember hearing something about him, but he seems okay. Like, I'm not huge on him, but I'm also not down on him either. I've heard he's kind of, I don't want to speak on it terribly, but I've heard he's not super flexible. I don't remember which heroes he was lacking on. I don't remember exactly, but I remember hearing that he wasn't proficient in all 3 or all 4 of the main tanks. He lacks Winston. That is surprising for a Korean player. I'm going to be real. Usually it's Winston and everything else sucks. So what I'm getting is, like, so if Django lacks a Winston, right? And Piggy lacks a Diva? Like, you are missing so many high-level tank comps. You're bad at double bubble. You're bad at rush. You're bad at dive. Like, that's a lot of heroes. That's a lot of tank comps to not be good at. Like, as a tank line, that's a lot of comps to not be good at. So I think a lot of people at the beginning of the season were super high on Houston tank line. I think this is like kind of like the make or break it line. Like, if I had to pick like a group, I think this right here is like the make or break it of Houston. Like, if these guys exceed expectations, the team will go higher. They'll climb their rankings. If not, they'll go down. But if you only have 2 tanks, right? If you have 1 and 2 and they can't play all the heroes, you're bound to be in trouble during hero pools at some point. So I think Houston's a super volatile roster. I think this team does have potential to exceed the past. You know what I mean? Like the past iterations of the roster. But at the same time, I think they also have the potential to be the exact same that they are every year. Because, like I've said, I'm not a fan of how this roster was structured. You have a lot of question marks. You have Juby, who's a question mark. You have Piggy, who's a question mark. You have Jang, for me, these are question marks. Like, these 3 players are a big question mark. And while these are all, like, well-known and established players, like, how do you use these? Again, I just don't like 5 DPS. I just don't like this at all. We haven't even talked about the best part of the Houston roster yet, and it's probably Junkbuck. Like, I've heard so many good things about Junkbuck. So if anybody's going to pull it together, like, I have faith in the man to do it. I don't really have any personal experience, but I've heard he's a very good coach, and a lot of people have faith in him. So if this is his vision of how he builds his roster is this, then I'll trust the man, but I'm not exactly enthusiastic for the way this roster is built and Houston's potential. So I'm going to put Houston at the bottom of the 2nd tier, putting them here. Yo, Recurve. Thanks for the raid, dude. Thanks for the raid, dude. We are already an hour into doing Preds, and I've done 4 teams. So, if you guys like hearing someone talk a lot, I'm talking a whole lot right now. Rate the recurve Farah. All right, let's see it. All right, what we got?
We're gone ASAP. Oh, please! Oh my fucking god!
Oh,
Holy
nasty.
shit! Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! That was disgusting.
That's pretty good. That's pretty nasty. All right, so let's go these out here. All right, next team. Now I didn't give a whole lot of thoughts to this beforehand, but this is where it starts to get a little squirrely, a little wild. You guys ready for my first hot take? Are you guys ready for my first hot take? Is it even a hot take? Is it even a hot take? Huh. I don't know. Is this considered a hot take? All right, ready? Posh champ. Posh champ. The Dallas Fuel. Let me get into it. All right. All right. All right. Let's break it down. Let's break it down. All right. Let's break it down. Let's break it down. All right. Let's break it down. All right. Listen. You can't make a tier list without a couple hot takes, okay? Listen. Let's talk about it, okay? Let's break it down. Let me talk about the good parts of this roster first, right? Molten Lava take. All right. Let's start. Okay. I think Dallas has a great flick scan player in Ixie. This guy wasn't an MVP candidate for nothing, right? I think that's a plus. Hanbin is a good off tank. But listen, I'm gonna be real. I think Haman's a good off tank, but I think he's a smidge overrated. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. I think he's a smidge overrated. And they have a good Winston player. But let me kind of tie this all. I mean, they have Sparkle as well. Let me just kind of tie this all together and explain why I don't think Dallas can be that good. Where do I even start, man? Where do I even start? Okay, listen. So Doha plays. What does Doha play? Doha and Sparkle are kind of like the same, but Doha plays Sombra, yeah? Doha's your Sombra player, which is great. Having a great Sombra is a plus for the roster. Yo, liar. Thanks to 10 months, brother. Appreciate it, dude. So Doha is a good Sombra. Decent May. Who have I ranked so far? Here we're Vancouver, Paris, London, Houston, in that order. So Doha's like really what's big is Doha's your big Sombra player. Sparkle is your Doom, your Genji. Yeah, he's your Doom and your Genji. Oh, that gets me to another hot take. What award did he win last season? Was he a Roll Star? Did he get Roll Star? This man should not have gotten Roll Star. This guy played. No, let me explain why. This guy. Okay, listen. Way overhyped. Like, Red's gonna kill you. Listen, it's just the truth. He should not have gotten roll start. KSP should have gotten roll start, and I'll take that to the fucking grave. This guy was insane on the 2-week Genji meta, and I'm not gonna say he fell off the face of the earth, but he was not nearly as good as he was in the 2-week Genji meta. That's it. KSP was literally fucking the whole league for a full year, and this guy played Genji good for 2 weeks, and he got roll star, and KSP didn't. Bullshit. 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 It reeks of overhype. Like, listen, Sparkle is a great player, right? But I would also say he's a very, for what I've seen, a very limited player. A very limited player. Like, he is very, very, very good in the heroes he's good on, but he is not very flexible. Like, and this is the guy they want to play Tracer at a top level? I just don't buy it. Like everybody else, I don't buy that any of these players are going to play Tracer at a high enough level. I just don't buy it. I absolutely do not buy it. They have a good Sombra, they have a good Doom, they have a good Genji. Xy's a good flick scam player. But it does not matter if you cannot connect these dots with a Tracer player. It just doesn't matter. Like, unless these 1 or 2 players comes out with some freaky fucking Tracer out of nowhere, this DPS lineup is going to have holes upon holes, and they're going to have problems in metas. I rate Xy. Like this, like here, you can check off this. This is not what I'm worried about on the DPS lineup for Dallas. I'm not worried about Xy at all. What I'm worried about is these two coming together. When do they play and what do they play? Because for me, it's not really clear. It's not really clear. Which one of these guys plays the Echo? Which one plays Tracer? You know, like, I don't know. I don't think anybody else knows either. Sparkle probably does the Echo. Yeah, probably. But again, the fact that I have to question that is it's gonna be hard. I feel like can Rush piece these two together into a functioning core of flex DPS? Probably. I've heard he's a pretty good coach. But even so, at the end of the day, for me, it relies a lot on the Tracer. Apparently, Xy refuses to play Ashe. Really? Wait, real? That's a rumor, so I don't know how seriously I want to take that. But if Xy refuses to play Ashe, that's a fucking shotgun shell of a hole through Dallas's chest. Like, that's a killer. If your flick scam player refuses to play Ashe, Ashe is great. Ashe is still an insanely good hero that's going to be played a ton in the Overwatch League. So, let's assume that's true, right? Let's assume no Ashe, no Tracer. Can someone tell me what was the most dominant meta last year? Can somebody tell me? Anybody? Can anyone tell me what 2 heroes were most prominent throughout the whole year? I think it was Ashe Tracer. So, yeah. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. That is assuming that that Xy doesn't play Ashe, and that's completely a rumor. And Avril said it, so I trust Avril. But again, that could be completely wrong. It could be wrong. So it's a lack of Tracer, now a lack of an Ashe, and how do they make these two, and when do they play and why? And are they flexible enough? And I just don't buy into it. So that's just talking about the DPS. Here's my real issue, okay? I think about it. Do you ever really see Xy play Ashe last season? Because he was it was a lot of McCree and Widow. You're right. Here's my real issue. Let's talk about the supports, okay? I remember having this argument with Avast. I don't know. I think it was a Steel Series tournament when we talked about it. I talked about it on stream. Maybe it wasn't on stream. Maybe it was after. I don't know. I argued that Washington's support line was better than Dallas's, and he thought I was crazy. I don't like their supports at all. Specifically these two. Okay, listen. You're the Dallas Fuel. Boom. You are rebuilding with a stacked Korean lineup, and you can pick basically anybody because your pockets are fat. Okay. So the first thing you do is, okay, listen. Completely new rebuild, tons of money, can pick Korean players. All right, let's go with the Houston Outlaws season 3 support line. Boom. Ah, that's great. What? Do you realize how sucky those guys were last year? They were awful. Those guys sucked. They were bad last year. I'm sorry. Those two were bad last year. They were bad. You want to come for me? Come for me. I don't care. Those two sucked last year, and that's me trying to be nice. They were bad last year. And Fielder, here, I'm gonna put the fucking cherry on top. I think Fielder's overrated. Everybody saw Fielder playing on 200 ping, and they're like, dude, this guy's God tier. This guy's the best player to ever come to the fucking game. Overrated. By a little bit. Not a ton, a little bit. Little overrated. Definitely the best player of the three, but he's not as good as everybody thinks he is, in my opinion. I think Fielder is good, not great. I think he's good, not great. Good, not great. Fielder, top 5 flex support? No. I don't think so. You can make an argument for top 10, but not top 5. I don't think. No. Not top 5. Not top 5. Again, Fielder is good, but slightly overrated. Good, but slightly overrated. Fielder versus last show any day of the week. Not even close. Do I have any insight into Scrimbucks? No, I do not. This is just my experience from before. So, I don't rate the support line at all. Not even a little bit. I like these hot takes, so that's what I'm here for, I guess. So, DPS lineup, lots of holes, heroes. Support line, not particularly good. And the tanks are probably the best. But again, I also have issues with the tanks, in my opinion. I think Hanbin, I said earlier, I also think Hanbin maybe a tiny bit, just a smidge, overrated. I think Hanbin is very good. I think he's arguably a top 5. He's definitely a top 5 Sigma. Top 5 Sigma. He had a good Zarya. I don't remember much about his Diva. I think it was decent. I think his Sigma and Zarya, very good, decent Diva. But again, Overwatch League, decent Diva doesn't really fly. It doesn't really fly.
Space or Hanbin?
Space or Hanbin? I think Hanbin. By a little bit. I think Space probably has a better Diva by a little bit, but I think Hanbin's Zarya and Sigma makes up for that fact. It's close, though. In my opinion. Again, okay, so talking about Hanbin. Decent Diva, very good Sigma Zarya. So in those metas where you're playing Sigma and Zarya, I think Hanbin's going to be a carry player for this team, and I think he'd be a top player. There's potential as Diva gets a little better. But again, I also don't think his Diva's terrible by any stretch of that match. It's just probably average. Paris wins a tournament even though Fielder's on 200 ping. Who keeps in mind was needed for Nano Genji. Fielder overrated. I don't know, man. I'm not high on Fielder, but he's just definitely not just good. Is this a hot take? I think ping's overrated. I think the ping excuse is overrated. Is that a hot take? I think people see this ping shit and they're like, these guys are fucking mecha warriors, man. It is unreal. These guys are just, dude, when the shackles get taken off, oh, they're gonna be so powerful. Oh, you can't even imagine. No, that's just not how it works. No, it's really just not how it works. You can maybe see, like, if I had to say like a percentage, like maybe like a 10% drop. Yeah, it's not Rocket League dropping the weights. It's just not. It's really just not. It's maybe like a 10% increase, give or take. If I had to put a percentage on it, but I don't think ping is, bro. Like, I'm saying that from experience. It is not fun, but the human mind, dude, you adapt the ping quicker than you think you do. You adapt the ping way quicker than you think you do. Bro, I played at the very beginning of the year. We played Korean scrims with Valiant, and I played Sigma, and I'd play Sigma, and you would throw rocks through people. Like, you would literally see rocks phase through hitboxes. You just get used to it. Like, by the time we played for a couple of weeks, I was completely used to the fact that I had fucking, my rocks were fucked, or like my shield took an extra like 0.1 second. Like, you get used to it, and you play, I don't want to say the same, but very, very close to the same. Again, I'm not saying Fielder is a shit player, but as long as the ping is consistent, I don't think it heavily affects your performance unless you're playing like a super specific hero. If Fielder's playing Doom or something, then I'd make the argument that ping is holding him back. Then I make that argument. Being good on 200 ping doesn't. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Velocity. All right, so let's finish up Dallas. Obviously, people like it because it's a hot take, but let's finish it up. So I rate the tank line. I think Hammond's very good, decent diva. Fearless. I mean, fucking cracked Winston. Arguably the number 2 behind Smurf on the Winston. The rest of the heroes. I don't know. Does anybody know? Solid Rhine. Is Ball and Orisa bad? So, insane Winston, solid Rhine, bad Ball and Orisa. That's not going to last throughout the year. It's not going to last throughout the year. Like, you can't play hero pools. Like, the tournaments where we have hero pools, and you're like forced on the weird shit, like these players that can't play the heroes, it's gonna tank the performance a solid bit. Like, Stan one played over him and Orisa. Well, he's gonna have to pick up all of that slack then, because he's the only tank on the roster. It's the same shit. I held Valiant back because my Sigma was dog shit. My Sigma sucked. I was good with Diva. My Sigma was dog shit. It's just like, just because these players are probably better overall than me, like, it's the same concepts. Like, these, like, if you suck on one hero, the metas where you have to play that one hero constantly, you're gonna hold your team back. And it brings me up to another point. I don't know if Fearless reaches the same highs that he had last year with Shanghai, especially with the problems with the rest of that roster that I've been talking about, right? Can Fearless reach the same highs that he had with Shanghai, who was arguably the best team in the game, or like top 2 team in the game? Yeah, I agree with Blacksay, however you say your name. I think he's going to regress. I don't think he's not going to reach the same highs with this roster. I just don't think so. So I think all these issues combined, in my mind, this is not a hot take, putting Dallas here. It's really not. Everybody just rode the fucking Element Mystic hype train, and they're like, oh my god, Dallas, top 3 for sure. I just don't buy it. The level of play this year is so high. Did you see FD God said Dallas is one of the worst scrims? Oh, no, I didn't see that, but wouldn't surprise me either. All right, let's move on. It's taking us too long. That was like 20 minutes just for the Dallas fuel. All right, Next team. I think this one's relatively easy. I think so. Wow, you guys say Boston? Really? Oh, I don't think so. Toronto Defiant. Toronto Defiant. Well, let's look at the roster here, okay? This is just comical to me, right here. This is just comical to me. Logic's and Beast here on this roster. It doesn't really make sense, but fuck it. All right. So, Logic's very good tracer. Does he play, though, with this roster? I don't know. I don't know. I think Logic's is a very good hit skin player, specifically a tracer. I'm gonna be real. The more I don't know. I'm just gonna go off the assumption that he plays. I don't think Beast ever plays. Sorry, Beast. I don't think so. Could be wrong. But I rate Sato high. I don't think Beast ever plays. Let me stick to my train of thought here. So Logix is a good hit scan. I probably see him playing a lot in double hit scan if they do end up playing him. Hisu. Here's my hot tech for season 3. Ready? You guys ready for this? Hisu was more essential to Philly's success than Carpe was last season. And not even on the heroes that he's good at. I think that man should have played over him, period. Like, I rated Hisu's hard hit scan better than Carpe's, too. Like, I think this guy has potential to be, like top 5 DPS, probably. I think he deserves in that category, to be honest. Like, I think Hisu, picking up Hisu and Sato, I think KDG taking these two to Toronto was a big boon for this team. Like, I think this was a big W. Like, this is a W. Oh, why'd it get so thick? The fuck? Oh, W. This is a W. Everybody else, I don't know. Everybody else, I'm not sure. Nice has been in like T1 jail for a while, right? Nice has been in T1 jail for a while. They were again, that's how I feel. They were good at the very start, and then he just kind of faded into like, I want to say irrelevancy, but a lot of people just kind of just forgot about him. I mean, he just turned 18, but like, he's not like the other prodigies who just turned 18, right? Nice dumpstered on Valentine and Pelican in Tier 2 even without teammates. I mean, I know about Funi. I mean, I saw him tons in Funi. Like, I know everything about Funi. Like, I know all the... No, he didn't. I feel like he didn't because I don't remember hearing about it. From what I understand is that Nice wasn't that great on T1, but he was just a long-term, wait till he's 18, see how it pans out kind of prospect. A lot of people put him as a rookie to look for, but it's also a rookie that could... Dude, he is very boom or bust. Like, I think he could be, like, terrible or he could be super insane. But I'm inclined to believe that, like, I don't think he's that insane from what I remember. Nice was the best. He's rookie of the year. I mean, that's kind of just how I feel. Like, a lot of people think he's, like, he has rookie of the year potential or he's going to be a complete bust. Like, I don't think anybody feels in the middle about him. So I think a lot of the DPS roster is going to rely on how good Nice is. But I seriously rate Hisu, and if Logix plays to a certain extent, I think Logix is also very good. So I think they have two really good DPS, specifically geared towards hit scan. How is their flex DPS going to turn out? Who knows? But that's it. That's a big question mark for the team, in my opinion. Let's talk about supports. So, what I'm going to talk about first is Ansu J. Ansu J played for Element Mystic, right? And the later years Element Mystic weren't that insane, really. They were decent. They were okay when he played. But I think the general sentiment that people had was this was kind of a questionable pickup. Not a lot of people were sure. I mean, he's a rookie, right? So it's like he wasn't on an insanely hyped team. It felt very out of left field for the quality of roster that Toronto was trying to build. I don't know much about him, though. I can't say with certainty if he'll be good or not. So I'm not going to... Oh, I accidentally clicked on that. From good, not great, I think that's the very... I haven't heard a whole ton, but that's kind of... Yeah, it's kind of like what I'm getting from it is okay. He's not a world beater by any sense of the imagination, but he's a rookie, so he could completely come out of nowhere and be also be very good. So I don't have a whole lot to say, but what I will say is, there we go. A lot of people were hyped for Aztec going into the season. This is a little bit of bias for me coming in. I think Lasho is just going to play over him, period. I have experienced the Lasho carry effect for a whole year. He's just better. I think Lasho last year was severely underrated. Like I actually think Lasho last year, I think you could have made an argument for him being top 5. No cap. Lasho is insane at Ana. He's insane at Zen. He's got a very good BAP. Dude, he's even good at Moira. Now, I will say it. I think Lasho's a top 5 flex support. This year, too. I think this is, out of all the pickups, like, it's Hisu, Lasho, and Sato are like the big 3. These are like the W's for me. This is like the core of your roster. This is who's going to carry your team. This is going to carry your team. This is going to carry your team, right? Nice. I don't think so. I don't think Nice is going to carry this team. I think he's going to be the question mark of the team, and I think he if there's going to be any midseason pickups, for this team, it's going to be either for this guy or for this guy. Lipper Hisu for best summer in the league. I don't know. That's tough. I'm not sure. Flexing? I don't think so. Let me get down to that. So we're done talking about this, right? Let's just cross that out for now. Beast never plays, in my opinion. I think Sato is very good. I think a lot of fans still have that concrete image in their head that Sato's not that flexible and he's not that good. But I think Sato has improved a ton over the years. Like, I think Sato is like one of the best all-around main tanks in the game. Yeah, I'd say he's probably top 5. I think the highs of Toronto's roster is very high. So I think this team has potential. Like, if I had to pick a dark horse candidate, if I had to pick like a middle of the pack team that had dark horse candidate potential to win the league or be like a top team, it'd be Toronto. Like, the more I think about it, I might even change the way I rate this. Not gonna lie. Does Michelle even have a Sigma? People have that idea about Michelle from Seoul, but I'm like 99% sure that Michelle does have a Sigma. I think Seoul was just... Dude, Seoul was Seoul last year. That's how I feel about it. Did I talk about Florida yet? No. I think Michelle's underrated, and I think he was completely underutilized with Seoul. Like, I rate Michelle, and I was very, very surprised when Seoul didn't play with him, really. Because I think when he played, I think he was very good. Yeah, I think he might be one of the most underrated players in the league, and I think literally just the Seoul effect made him undervalued by the community and by the league. He's just a big unknown because he got so fucked by Seoul, but I actually think he's a good, and I think the tank line is going to be very good this year. So I think the tank line is good. Hit scans, good. Flex support, good. The questions for me for Toronto is main support and flex DPS. If these guys can step up to the plate and play to the same level as the rest of their teammates, this team could be top 5 in my like they have that potential. I think they have that potential. I think Toronto has that potential, but for now, I'm gonna put them. Dude, I don't know. I have them here for now, but the next team, I think they're very interchangeable in my opinion. And any guesses on the next team? Okay, I see the general consensus is kind of the same. Same two teams. All right. Well, I'm going with the Boston Uprising. Going with the Boston Uprising. You know, the more I think about it, I'm putting Toronto higher. I'm sorry. I know this is like very spur of the moment, but I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. We'll still talk about the roster, but I had to do it. I had to change it. I think it's a good change. The more I think about it, I think Toronto's skilled roster, the skill level is just higher. It's just higher. We'll talk about it. So let's go through the rosters. We have Chex, I'm 37, Valentine, Myungbong Faith, Fusions, Punk, Stand 1. Okay. DPS. Will Color Hex have a role in this team, and will he get to stay in that role? Something tells me they're going to fuck him again. So I'm going to go with no. I think these two are your heavy hitters here in DPS. And Chex maybe fills the gaps. Who plays Tracer? That's a great question. Who plays Tracer here? Listen, I like Chex, but if Chex has to play Tracer for a team that's aspiring to be a top team, Valentine's playing Tracer. Is Valentine known for playing Tracer? Uh-oh. I'm getting a lot of Dallas and Sparkle vibes here. That's the vibe I'm getting from this kind of situation here. All right, so Valentine's your Tracer. So that like Tracer within itself it's like its own subset of roles. So when you have one player dedicated to playing Tracer, so now you have two players who are both hit scan focused. Who the fuck is flexing here? It's Chex, right? So Chex plays your Echo. He plays your. Oh Jesus! I'm not. Yeah, I don't see how this. I don't see how this roster like pieces itself together. At least in the DPS line. How does this team make sense? I mean, Valentine's flex, but if your flex is your Tracer player, then you're fucked. Flex and your Tracer player don't really match up all that great. You generally want a flex, a hard hit scan, and a Tracer. And I don't really see these three fitting that role. Like, Your flex and your tracer are the same. Now you have 2 hit scan players. Is Chex your flex? I don't think so. I think this DPS line is gonna really struggle to find its identity. Pretty sure there's no way I'm 37 plays tracer at a high enough level though. No way. I'm 37 has been very known to be like a flex scan player. He's a flex scan player. So I think the DPS line is going to struggle. I think they won't be nearly flexible enough for the league. So I think this is going to be. To be honest, I think there's high potential mid-season that Boston slots in a 4th Korean DPS here. I think there's high likelihood that a 4th. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if Sigma got picked up here. That guy's a freak. He could definitely. I could see that. That's not a bad shout. But yeah, but for now, with what info we have now, this is not adequate enough of a DPS line. Just not. But I am high on the support line. Myungbong, everyone's seen Myungbong. Myungbong's a fucking freak. Very good player. And I think Faith is. I'm very high on the Faith pickup. I think Season 3. I think Faith was nearly on Valiant. Was he? I know Faith was like part of the last stand trials that we had. I think we trialed like. Who did we trial Season 3? Because the player that we wanted Season 3 Valiant was Lenksa from Chengdu. But we couldn't get him. So very last second, we had the last second trial main supports. I think we trialed Faith, Rain, Jofi? Yeah. There was maybe one more in there. But Faith was very good. It was between Faith and Rain. You guys wanted Lenksa? Yeah, that's been common knowledge. We said that a long time ago. So I've been a fan of Faith a long time. I thought he was a very good player. So I think he's a good adequate piece to. I think he's kind of on the same level as Myungbong. So I think the support line's gonna be very solid. I don't know if I'd put them like top 3 and everything, but I definitely think they're on the top half of the support lines in the league. So I think this is a very good. It's a plus. It's a plus for Boston for sure. Now it's about the tank line. Fusions, Punk, stand 1. Okay, so I think there's potential that this is the situation we see. If Fusions ever does play, it's Ryan one-tricking. In the past, you made the reasoning that Fusions would play because Fusions is a great leader, and I just don't think there's the team and the need for what Fusions provides to this team anymore. I don't think so. Dallas is top 5? You mean bottom 5? Yeah, Dallas is bottom 5. Yeah, they are. I just don't think what Fusions is good at is really applicable to this roster anymore. I just don't think he fits. I've said it. I did it before when I talked about my off tank tier list that I deleted because people threatened me over it. But I think Punk's very underrated, and I think Punk is a very good player. I think Punk is a very good diva. I think he's a very good Sigma, and I think his Zarya is okay. But I think he's got the 2 big ones down. I think his diva and Sigma are both very good. So I think Punk is slightly underrated. And stand 1 is coming from Shanghai, where he was kind of second fiddle to Fearless in a way. But I think he has potential to take the reins of the main tank spot and kind of carry a team. But I think Stand 1's going to be like a top 5 main tank this year? I don't think so. How do you compare each role on Boston to Houston? Boston, better support line. Better tank line. Worse DPS? DPS is a question mark, but the hog clip. The weird thing about that is I completely missed that drama. I completely missed out on that. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up on Boston. I think solid tank line, very good support line. Not shit DPS, but a very, very lackluster DPS in terms of flexibility and what everybody can play. So that's why Boston goes here. Coaching. I don't know much about Laurie, to be honest. But what I'll say about the coaching roster here for Boston is that this makes no sense. You have a hard, Korean overlord Laurie, right? You have hard Korean overlord, one with WGS, Korean Contenders. Hard Korean overlord. And you have French assistant coach and Baroy, who was the statistical guy. I don't really see how these three mesh as a coaching unit. I just don't get how it works. It just doesn't make sense to me. That's all I can really say. All right. Oh, we gotta go faster. Nah, it's almost been 2 hours. We gotta go faster. Okay. This is where the big boy decisions come into play here. Okay. This is hard. Holy shit, this is hard. This is definitely a tier break though. I think this is a tier break. Trying to think. Hold on. It's between Atlanta and Washington for me. Oh, this is so hard, man. Holy shit. Okay, so there's... It's a lot, dude. It's for me. It's very meta dependent and the style of Overwatch to be played. But I'm going Atlanta, I think, for 5. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I'm going Atlanta 5. And let me just say, it's very fucking hard for me to pick. It's very hard. These 5 rosters are all very good. It's very hard to pick between all the rosters. It's very hard to pick. That's all I can really say. All right, so let's go through it. All right. DPS lineup. Arguably the best in the game. If not best in the game, top 3. The bare minimum top 3. Kai, insane flick scam player. Pelican, insane flex player. Edison, insane tracer. Like, that checks all the 3 that I need from a DPS, right? You have insane tracer. You have insane flex. You have insane flex scan. I mean, that checks all 3 boxes. If you have insane at all of that, I mean, that's really, I want to say that's all you need, but that is like, you have all of your basic bases covered at a very high level. So DPS, like, I don't need to say much more. I think DPS is insane. I don't think anybody disputes that. I think the Atlanta DPS is fucking nuts. Let's go to support line. Iris, fucking nuts. I said this in, whose stream was on it? I was in Custis. We, Valiant, early season, we scrimmed 3rd impact a lot. And I was like, yo, packing it. If you got like extra money laying around, you should probably pick up Iris because that guy's next. That guy's next for sure. I was like, that guy's fucking insane. If you got like a couple like, if you got like 50k, 60k laying around, you should probably pick up Iris. That guy's nuts. So I'm really high on Iris. I think he's very good. So, I mean, I'm higher on Iris. I don't need to say much more. I think he's very good at all the heroes. I think he's mechanically insane. I think Masa is an insane Lucio. Masa's problem's always been his other heroes, though, right? His problem's been his Bat Brig Mercy, right? I think Masa's, like, right now, like, Rush meta, dude, I think Masa's probably, like, right now in Rush meta, Masa's probably one of the best main supports in the game. Like, but I think all his other heroes are very subpar compared to his Lucio. So I think, will Masa be able to adapt to the other metas? I don't know. You say Gator? No, that's not true. Dude, I wouldn't even go as far to say Masa's bad off Lucio. Just when you compare it to his Lucio, it probably seems that way. But if you say Gator and Hawk are bad, I just don't believe you. Thoughts on Masa Brig? It's like I said earlier, like, very good Lucio, but his Brig's, they are bad though? I don't think so. Are they going to be the best tank line in every single meta? No, absolutely not. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I think in the metas, Atlanta has always been like this, but I think the level that they play at is just, the level that they're at on an average, like average day, is just higher now. Just way higher because of the players they have in the roster. The metas where these players are good at, they're arguably the best team in the game. Like right now, in this meta, being played at this very moment. At this very moment, it's Ryan Diva, McCree, May, Bap, Lucio. I mean, like right now, this seems probably nuts. Will that last through every single meta? No, I don't think so. I haven't even taught... Listen, listen. All right, we're taking a breather. Okay, ready? Hey, okay, chat. Listen, this is my opinion, okay? I haven't even gotten to the people I want to talk about yet, and you guys are reaching all the way down to the bottom. I'm not even at the bottom here yet. I'm still here, okay? Woosah, okay? Hey, we're almost there, okay? We'll finish the team, okay? Let me finish my point. We'll talk about the people. We'll talk about these guys later, okay? When I get there, all right? All right. Let's get back to what I was talking about. Masa, whatever you want to call it. You want to call Lucio a one-trick pony? Fine, but I don't think that really applies. I think he... Great Lucio. Decent Mercy. And his Brig and Bap are probably bad, below average. Iris, very good. I mean, you can make an argument for... He has potential this season to break into top 5 flex support, in my opinion. I think he's already on the cusp of that. I think he has potential to reach there. Gator and Hawk. Gator, very good Rhine. Very good Orisa. Decent ball. Probably a subpar Winston. Maybe a decent Winston. I actually don't know. I don't know for 100%, but he's known for his Ryan and Orisa, right? That's for sure. I think everybody understands that. He's known for his Ryan and Orisa. Would I say his Winston is a dog? No, I would not. I don't think so. I don't think so. I just don't. Dude, do I think these guys are world beaters? Absolutely not. No. I don't think so. Nope. I don't even know if I put these guys top 5. You guys are acting like I'm rating. Just because this team is top 5 does not mean these two are a top 5 tank duo. But I think specifically Hawk is being underrated. I could agree with your arguments that Gator is not insane, but I think Hawk specifically is being very underrated. Did Hawk have an insane year last year? No. Don't think so. But I think he definitely has the skill and potential. I think his Diva is very good. I think his Sigma is very good. I think his Zarya I'm not sure on his Zarya. But I think his Sigma and Diva are both very good. I think that's the pillar of what you need to be a very good off tank. Yo, Andrew, thanks for the tier 1, man. I appreciate it. Pelican, Kai, Edison aren't even top 5 DPS, man. I just... Wrong. Just wrong. That's all I can say. Wrong. Listen, let's wrap this up, right? I have faith here. Question mark. Will the main support and Masa be flexible enough for the entire year? Will Gator be flexible enough on a main tank the entire year? Everybody else checks the boxes for me. The potential to be a top, if not already a top player, potential to be a top player, and I have complete faith that they'll be solid for their roster. Period. We're moving on. Because I need to go faster anyways, and people are wildly upset already now that we're reaching the top. Bound to happen. Okay. Number 4. Oh, the shock tweet blew up your Twitter? Hey, grats, bro. Hey. No problem, man. Shock the world, baby. Number 4 for me is the Washington Justice. The Washington Justice. The Washington Justice. Okay, let's talk about it. This is a little hot. This is a top 4. How is this a little hot? This is top 5. This is the top 4 teams in NA. We're not under Florida is hot. Maybe lukewarm, but it's not a hot take. I don't think that's even close to a hot take. I don't think you guys know what hot take is if you think saying Florida Mayhem is better than Washington Justice is a hot take. Don't think so. I'd say it's a lukewarm take. I think it's lukewarm, but not a hot take. Let's go through why. Okay, Tuba. Tuba last year, for what I remember of Tuba last year, was Washington was at its best when he was playing Genji. And what did they play during the Hog meta? Was it Ash Tracer? For what I remember Tuba, he's a Genji one trick. For what I remember Tuba Genji, he just played Genji, and that's the only time I remember him being any good, was playing Genji. Oh, Genji and Pharah, right. Genji and Pharah. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get to that bio. So he played Genji and Pharah, right? That's not really applicable to Overwatch League now, really, as a whole. He's kind of like that old era of, like, projectile player that plays the Genji and the Fair and like the Doom, but that like just doesn't. That's not really a role anymore. That's just kind of like gone. His Tracer, I don't remember his Tracer. He played Tracer. Yeah, I don't remember his Tracer being insane though. I don't remember his Tracer being like the linchpin at like made comps. It's like insane though. His Tracer was popping. For what I remember, his Tracer was average, and it's okay. His Sombra was okay. His Tracer legit beat you guys in the playoffs? Okay, so I beat the San Francisco Shock, right? Does that mean that because I was playing D.Va that we beat the San Francisco Shock? Is that how that works? No. It's not how that works. Yeah. I beat Florida Mayhem multiple times. Does that mean I was a better Sigma than Gargoyle? No. No. I don't think so. Watch the VODs, man. I played the game. I was in the server. What do you mean, watch the... No, never mind. I'm done replying to this guy. Watch the VODs. Suck my balls, dude. I was in the fucking server, man. Jesus Christ. Unreal. All right, let's keep going. Tuba. God Tracer. Best player to ever play the game. No. Tuba's probably not going to play that much. The K is going to play 100% of the time. So what I really expect from the Washington DPS line is it's probably going to be Decay and Assassin, probably like 90% of the time. 90%? Maybe you see a little bit of Tuba. I just don't really see Jerry playing. Like, Jerry's your hit scan player, but Decay just plays it better, and he's more flexible as well. Like, I think it's going to be a Decay and Assassin a large chunk of the time. Lighter feels strongly about Jerry. I don't even think Jerry will play in double hit scan, man. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Decay Jerry was only DPS line in open scrim, but open scrims don't really mean anything. Like, you can't say for certain that like these teams are like trying in open scrims. Or like, dude, in open scrims, they're just giving people more time generally. Like, they don't play to win in those. That's my, again, you gotta type in all caps in me. I just don't think Jerry's gonna play very much in this team. If he does play, it'll be during double hit scan. That's the one time. That's the one like meta that I'll see him play. And everything else, I don't think he'll ever play. But even if they do play in double hit scan, I'm not that high on Jerry in the first place. Like, I don't think he's that great. I think the community loves him because Sideshow screamed Jerry one time. Okay, cool. Okay. Cool. I don't think he played that well in Boston. It was a funny moment, but that doesn't make him a good player. Doesn't apply to the next year either. I think he's an average hit scan player. And I think the K is just a superior version of him in every way. So if you have to play him at any point, I feel like you're just hindering yourself. But I am very high on Decay and Assassin. When those two get to play, I think it'd be a great DPS lineup. Supports. Now, this circles me back to the point that I had where I talked about where me and Avas argued about the Washington and Decay support line, or Washington and Dallas support line. And I said Washington support line was better than Dallas, and he called me an idiot, and I called him an idiot. And this is personally because I have a little bit of, I have more not insider info, but I think Closer's underrated, and I think how do I describe this? Baby was not good all last year on Spark. Yeah, the thing I'm gonna, dude, like, we haven't rated Spark yet, but the thing about that is like, I agree with you in a sense. I don't. how do I say this? Like, I just have a hunch feeling that that's not going to be the same thing. I'm basing it off literally nothing. It's literally just a hunch. I'm not basing it off facts. I'm not basing it off statistics. I'm basing it off a hunch. I think Closer got fucked because of the bad Dow situation, and he just didn't fit with the team, and I have a hunch that Bebe's going to be better. But I think Closer in particular is underrated. I just have a hunch that this support line, I think people have just continued to beat down this support line because it looks bad on paper, but I think this support line is going to heavily outperform people's expectations. That's just what I think. But here comes the real heavy hitters with this roster, right? Here comes the real heavy hitters with this roster, right? We're talking about the fucking tank line, right? We have Mag. I mean, do I really need to say anything about Mag? Do I even need to say anything about this roster? About these three tanks? Best tank line in the league? There's an argument for that, yeah. I don't know if I'd say that with 100% certainty, but it's very close. They're definitely up there. I'd say top 3 for sure. Why is Rhea here? I think what's his name? Pre said it was just in case if there's another double off tank meta, because Washington knows better than anybody. Double off tank fucking hard carried them. But chat, Rhea is nuts. If there's ever an excuse where they can play Rhea is very good. Like, let me just say, like, if there wasn't a Fury level player on Washington, Rhea would be for me a perfectly fine player to have on this team. I think Rhea's nuts. I think Rhea's very good. I mean, and Mag and Fury kind of speak for themselves. So this is kind of why I rate the roster. I think the tank line's insane. I think the support line is underrated. The only problem I really have with the roster is, again, how are they going to utilize these DPS in a proficient way? If they can run Decay and Assassin the entire time, sky's the fucking limit. They could win the league. But I don't know if that's applicable. I don't know if they'll be able to do that. All right. Now, I don't think you really need to guess who I'm going to put next, but you can if you want, I guess. Can if you want, I guess. I need to move all this up, by the way. Yeah, clearly the shock. Yep. Florida Mayhem. Florida Mayhem. Now let's rattle off why I have, again, people molded like all fucking hell when I put them over Washington, which for me, I don't really get it, but we'll go through it, right? BQB. If you had to like give an award for like most improved player throughout the years, I think BQB probably takes that title. Like, BQB was stupid fucking nasty last year. Like, stupid nasty. Like, super, super, super good. BQB was nasty. Like, he was comparable to Kai, in my opinion. Like, when they played, it was back and forth consistently. And he is not only he's a flex scam player now, he also has a Sombra in his back pocket. And like you can do the whole Sombra flying off the map meme, but his Sombra is actually good. I can say that because I've sat next to the guy and watched him play the game on Sombra. He's a good Sombra. Well, he was a good Sombra. Is it still applicable now? I'm not 100% sure, but he was a very good Sombra. Yaki? Do I really gotta say anything about Yaki? Listen, Florida's BQB Yaki 100% of the time. This guy doesn't play. I'm sorry. This guy doesn't play. I don't know much about Checkmate, but the guy just doesn't play, okay? This guy doesn't play. I don't think this guy plays. I don't think so. Maybe there's probably some niche usage where he's probably played, but BQB Yaki's probably going to be like a 95% run DPS line. Maybe 5% playtime. That's how I feel about it. Yaki is just... Yaki's Yaki. Yaki's Yaki. And BQB, very well... I mean, Sky's... Dude, I don't even think BQB's hit his limit yet. Like, from what I've seen, like... I'm just going to stop jerking off BQB. He's very good. Like, I think the sky's the limit for BQB. He can be even better than he was last year. Okay, sport line. Gangnam Jin. Top 5 flex support? Insane flex support? Yeah, top 5. Yeah, I think so. Gangnam Jin's fucking insane. Very fucking good. He was consistently a hard carry for this roster on Zen and the Ana. And when he had to play the other heroes, he was also very good. Slime. I think everybody's question marks for this roster is relatively the same, but I have less fears about these two players. Slime, he got benched for Toby, yeah? Yeah, I'm glad you like that VOD review, Andrew. So I think that was a mistake. Dude, I feel like I haven't seen Slime. I think people just haven't seen Slime in so long, but I think Slime's insane. And I think he was one of the better parts of that runaway Vancouver Titans roster. It's just everybody gets benched for Toby. Soul is gonna Soul. Anybody involved with that, I don't really knock them for it. So I think Slime is gonna come out. Slime's Brig, yeah. I think if you're gonna have worries about Slime, it's probably gonna be his Brig. I didn't really see a whole bunch of his Brig. So that's kind of be the linchpin of whether he is very good or not. But his Mercy's good and his Lucio's great. So, and I'll talk another reason why I have Florida in the top 3 is I really rate Gookie. Again, I don't know why my fucking pen has gotten fat as fuck, but I really like Gookie as a coach. I think Gookie, arguably. I mean, I don't even say arguably top three coach, head coach in the game. I think Kuki has the demeanor and the leadership to lead a team, but he's also very smart. And I think that's very rare for head coaches to have both. Let's talk about the tank line. Gargoyle. I think the general community underrated Gargoyle. I think. Unless I'm misremembering, I think people underrated Gargoyle. I think Gargoyle's fucking nasty at every hero, not just Sigma. His Sigma was easily top 3, though. His Sigma was insane. He gapped me on Sigma every time. It wasn't even close. Maybe he's properly rated now, but people did underrate Gargoyles very hard. But Gargoyle is very, very good. Like a very good off tank. He is solid. He knows all the heroes. I don't think there's ever been a moment where Gargoyle lets this team down. Budget Krong? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think Krong's budget Gargoyle. I think it's the other way around. Because I think Gargoyle's better at the other. I think Gargoyle's better at the other off things than Krong is. Now, let's talk about OG. Gargoyle or Hanbin on Sigma? I don't know. I can't answer that question and say it seriously. I don't know. Maybe by a fucking hair, Hanbin. Maybe. Just by the fucking thinnest of margins. OG. Now, this is why I have Florida so high. I have more info about OG, and I know OG a little better. I think OG's never been about his skill. I think on every single hero he has, I think every single hero he plays mechanically is at a very high level. I think his has always been either a disagreement or like a play style difference between the team or a mental block. And this is another one of those hunch moments where I think OG will be a lot better with this full Korean team and Kuki head coaching him. I think OG is going to pound this year. I think, again, it's probably a hot take for some people, but I think OG is going to be very, very good this year. It's him being better this year is why I rate Florida so high, because the core itself, like this, and this, is insane. These two people slotting in, I think, are both going to perform above expectations. I think Florida is going to be very good this year. And again, it's a hunch. It's like a lot of these people want me to back up some of these opinions with like cold hard facts and like statistics, but some things I go on like just hunches. Like sometimes you can't put logic into like shit that you want to explain. Like it's just a hunch. Like I think OG is gonna do well this year. All right. So, is there a tier break here? There's a tier break here. There's a tier break here. Do I want to... You guys all know what I'm thinking, right? Let me think. All right, Chad, just let me think. Let me... Nah, I'm not going to do it. Nah. As much as I want to do it for content, no, I'm not doing it. I like Gladiators. Dude, as much as I like wanted to do it and like think there's potential, I just don't think so. And I'll explain why. Muse's Roar too. I really disagree with that. Really just don't agree with that. Okay, let's go through the roster, right? Birdring, your hard, your flick scan, mirror, your flex, Kevster, your tracer, but Kevster also has potential to flex the other things as well. That's how I see it playing out as well. Dude, anybody saying Roar over Muse is just brain dead. Please stop. Please. Even just to get a reaction out of me, please stop. It's please, no more. No more. Please. Please, please, please. No way. No shot. I mean, Birdring, insane. Like, I remember when he first joined Glads, like, people had the doubts, like, will Birdring, like, be able to transition into a mixed roster, and will he play at the same level that he did with the other teams? And I had people had a lot of doubts, but Birdring was insane last year. Birdring was very good last year. Mirror. What is there to say about Mirror? Mirror is like, what's I mean, he's just like the hard flex, right? Like he's gonna play your actually, like, is he your hard flex or is Kevster your hard? I don't know. I mean, Mirror's good, but I thought Kevster is probably the hard flex. No, I don't know, but you want Kevster to play your tracer. I mean, I don't want to get into nitty gritties, but like they have the check mark, right? They have the flick scan, they have the flex, they have the tracer. Like the tools are there. Can Glads put the puzzle pieces together? Can they do that? Can they do that? The pieces are there. Can they put them together? Because they have the flexibility between these three. And they absolutely do. That is for sure a thing. Anakin Burton play top tier for an entire season. I actually don't have any doubts about that, to be honest, after last year. I think after last year, I have no doubts about that. Shu and Moth. And Skewed. But basically Shu and Moth. Shu is my number 2 behind Violet. Shu's my number 2 behind Violet. That I rate Shu super, super highly. He's good at all the heroes. He's got the demeanor. He's got the mechanics. Bro, Shu could pick up DPS and be better than a lot of DPS players in the game. Alarm. Alarm's 3. I have Shu 2. That's just my opinion. It's probably a hot take, but Shu's a freak. Shu's a freak. And no, I'll talk about it later. But Shu's a freak. He's my number 2. It's very close though. I'm not to say there's a huge gap between these players, but Shu's my number 2. Shu's a freak. I mean, again, Shu's just a freak. He's good at all the heroes. He's got the demeanor. He's got everything. Like, he's got everything you want in a flex support. I don't really need to say much about Shu. Moth, again, do I really need to say about Moth? I mean, Moth is Moth. I mean, calm, cool, collected, flexible, a leader. Again, the support line is it's cracked. Shu and Moth is just cracked. You probably couldn't piece together a better support line out of the offseason than these two. I don't know. I think Skewed's kind of just fill the holes kind of player, kind of just a backup. I could be wrong though. I don't know much about Skewed, but actually I do. I think Skewed's pretty decent. I think Skewed's a good player. I just don't think he fits in between these two. Space and Muse. Everybody knows Space, right? I mean, Space is Space, right? I mean, it's got a really good Diva, pretty good Zarya, pretty good Sigma. He's the best Western off-tank. Space is Space. I mean, everybody knows Space. He's a leader. He's probably the funny guy, too. Probably does a lot for the team environment. Space is very good, not only mechanically, but mentally. Again, Space is Space. I don't really need to say much there. Muse. Now, some people came in here and said Muse was Roar 2.0. Wrong. Just wrong. People generally regard him as a number 2 behind Mag, and there was a sizable gap. And while I think I agree with that, I think the gap is not as big as people think it is between Mag and Muse. Was Mag absolutely better during contenders? Yes. Did he get better results? I actually don't remember, but I think so, yeah. I think Muse... I don't think it's a massive gap. Now, again, this is very much a hunch moment. This is very much a hunch moment. I just don't think the gap between Muse and Mag is as big as people think, and I think Muse has potential to be just as good, if not better. To be honest. every season people overrate the Glads, but you can't. I'm not a believer that you can base your opinions off of the history of an organization. I just don't. I'm not a believer in that. At least in Overwatch, with how young everything is. Mag is just God, though. All right, chat. Do you want me to say it? Do you want me to say it? Do you want me to say the words? I'll say it. Don't make me say it. Mag is overrated. I said it, champ. I said it. Does that mean Mag is not good? No. But generally, when these monumental expectations, the oh my god, this guy's a fucking franchise chasing player. He's gonna change the game. He's everything. God molded this perfect main tank player, and he named him Mag, and now he's on the Washington Justice. Generally, when expectations are that high, saying he's overrated is not really a hot take, in my opinion. Like, what about Glad's coaching? Sure, you can make an argument for Glad's coaching. Maybe Deepay is not as good as maybe Deepay has too much faith within the team, or they have too much faith in Deepay. But I quite rate Face. I've seen Face coach before. Smart fella, good coach. I don't know much about Ty Dalla. But yeah, you can make an argument. Maybe Glad's coaching isn't quite up to snuff, but what are you question marking here? Yeah, I just think the expectations for Mag is way too high. I just think Mag's expectations, people's expectations for him are just way too high. That's all I think. I guess that's a better way than say it instead of saying overrated. But that's how I feel about it. You still think he's rookie of the year? I mean, I can't say for certain. I mean, he for sure has potential to be rookie of the year. Well, do I need to talk about Shock, or I mean, it's kind of the San Francisco Shock, so I mean, do I really? Do I gotta? Shock or washed? Listen, Shock has always listen, let's be real, chat. Shock has always started the season slow, I feel like. They've always been a little slow to start, especially last year. They started slow last year. We beat Shock, Glads beat Shock, and was like, oh my god, Shock's not that great. Just look at the roster, right? Best Tracer in the game. Best Flex Support in the game. Best Ryan Hogg in the game. Best Winston in the game. I mean, when you just have all these players that are the best at essential heroes, like, even if you're going to say Shock isn't going to repeat, they're top 3, bar none. Like, I just don't think there's an argument you can make where they're not top 3. Is that me? Thoughts on Nero? I'll kind of go down the list. Obviously, Striker. We all know Striker. I don't need to say anything, right? Does Tile play the game? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Tile is just... Listen, I love Tile, but yeah, he's kind of just there. Alarm's best, but okay. No, Violet's the best. No. I don't see Tile playing the game, really. Sorry, Tile. Nero. Yo, Rice. Well, not even Rice. Gwen with the 5 months. Thank you.
Wanna see a pic of my cat?
Absolutely. Duh. Now, is Nero overrated? I don't know. But Shock is just one of those things, and Krusty's one of those situations where Krusty has faith in Nero. That gives me faith in Nero. You know? Is Nero higher upside than Rascal? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I do think Rascal De Niro's a downgrade. I do think it's a downgrade for sure. But no, I don't agree that Shock overall downgraded their DPS line. I don't think so. At least in terms of Glister Striker. I don't know how you guys feel about Glister, but I think Glister has potential to be the best DPS player in the game. Well, Ance, I think Glister is comparable to Ance. Glister's insane, and I think my take is going to be validated. And what I'll also say is I think Glister probably has a better game understanding. Is that a good way to say it? I don't want to say he's a smarter player than Ance, but like Glister is just more well-versed in playing high-level Overwatch. I think Ance was just a fucking freak mechanically. Like, could not picture a better aimer in the game. But I think Glister is comparable to that level of aim, but also being a smarter player. So you have Glister and Striker. Like, the big question mark for Shock's DPS line was, I do think Nero, overall, if I had to look at it objectively, is like, it's probably a downgrade from Rascal, but what are the highs that Nero, can Nero reach the same highs that Rascal provided for this team? I don't know. Nobody knows, really. But I have faith in the Church of Krusty. I mean, everybody should, right? This guy signs off on somebody, like, they're probably pretty good. All right, so that's the DPS line. You have Violet and Twilight. I mean, do I really gotta say anything about Violet? Nah, I don't have to. Violet's Violet, best flex support in the game. Twilight, fucking, if this guy actually got to play 100% of the time, probably up there as well. FD God. If my question, okay, here's the question marks for the Shock roster. Like, generally, each team for me has 2 question marks. Question mark for me is Nero. Another one is that FD God. Well, I do think FD God was very, very, very good on Paris. How does he slot into this roster? How does FD God work in this roster? And what about his Mercy? What about his Mercy? Right? What about his Mercy? FD better than Moth? I feel like that's a hot take. That's a hot take. Just does he provide the same things that Moth did, and will he slot into the roster? Will he slot into Moth's spot? Right? Like, you know what I mean? You guys know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, does he fit into the team? I'm not really worried about him mechanically. Just, does he fit with the team? But still, FD God is seriously a very good player. I mean, he's easily a top 5 main support in my opinion. Yeah, again, this is kind of like trust Krusty. They needed a replacement for Moth because Moth walked. FD God. FD Brig, Moth Brig. I don't know. I'd have to be honest. I'm not 100% sure on that. Okay. Again, saying FD God won Summer Showdown on Brig is like while Sparkle was playing fucking Genji and just hard shitting on everybody. Is like it's not really. You can't say they won because FD God had like an insane Brig. Because I just don't think that's true. I don't know. I don't know whose is better. I think you could make an argument that FD God's Brig is better, but saying that doesn't help your case, really. So about the tank line. Let's talk about the tank line. Okay, well, do we really have to talk about the Cashew? I mean, he's the best Rhine hog in the game. Like, you put super on Rhine, he's gonna gap literally everybody in the game. So, super is super. Choi, still arguably a top 3 off tank in the game. I don't think you can really argue against that, really. I wouldn't say Choi is for sure the best, but he's definitely top 3 in my opinion. Bare minimum top 5, but top 3 for me. And then Smurf. I mean, I can't. Did I say anything about Smurf? It's the best Winston in the game. Also a very good Orisa player. I mean, Smurf's Ryan's not bad either. Like, that's not. I don't really need to say anything about the tank line. It's the exact same tank line. Nothing's changed. I have no doubts about this tank line. My doubts are here. My doubts are here. Fearless? Smurf is... For me, Smurf is definitely better than Fearless on Winston. I think the general consensus was Smurf 1, Fearless 2. And that's an A. That is an A, chat. How do I save these? I'll just save it later. It's fine. Well, it only took us 2.5 hours to do Preds for the NA. Not hot. Yeah, I don't think my tier list is that hot, to be honest. I think Dallas being that low is maybe a little hot. Now I want to do one thing. Who is my dark horse candidate? So dark horse is what I consider like down from Akira and below. My dark horse candidate is for sure Toronto. Like, I think this team has potential to be like up here. I think Toronto definitely has potential to be up there. For sure. All right, APAC. Who is anybody have a wild guess how I'm gonna rate who's at the bottom of the APAC region? Any guessers? In your years, LA Valiant! Well. This roster. What am I even saying, man? What am I supposed to say here? What am I supposed to say here, chat? What do you want? Yeah, we is hot. Crystal left in the middle of the year to bang his girlfriend. This guy hasn't played the game in 3 years. And I don't know anybody else. So, well, I think this guy isn't this guy an off tank? Isn't this guy an off tank player playing main sport? Yeah, nice. Nice. Cool. Yeah, let's move on. I'm just not going to. I will not. I'm not engaging here. I'm not engaging here. I just miss me with that. All right. Number 7. Ooh, okay. I think APAC can have some spicy. I don't know about spicy, but who do you guys think I'm gonna put at number 7? I'm actually kind of. I don't even know who I'm gonna put there. Who am I gonna put there? Who? Let me take a look at this roster real quick. Hold on, before I decide. Well, okay. Let's just do this. Hangzhou Spark. Hangzhou Spark. This is tough for me. I thought about Chengdu. Actually, I'm gonna look at Chengdu's roster real quick before I fully decide. Give me a refresher. Hold on. I thought about Chengdu. Let's look at it. Nope. Changed my mind. Chengdu Hunters. Nope. Nope. Changed my mind. So, good improvements. Far away. Good. Good. I like that. Why did you do this to me? Listen, man. Listen, NA just wasn't hot enough. I had to spice it up. Let's go. I'm gonna try and rifle through this a little quicker. All right. Overrated. God. Two-way. So obviously. Wrong. Well, we'll see, huh? Guess we'll see one. Because he hates. Maryland, you're not wrong. You are not wrong, my man. This guy's It's got 3 years they've played with Elsa. I'll get to that in a second. It's fine. I guess to be fair to this ranking, I don't know a whole lot about Nisha. I know a lot about Faraway. Faraway is insane. I don't know a ton about him. I didn't really watch him a ton. Oh, Yvetto is playing? Oh, is he? I don't know if that's a good thing. guy is kind of hot. Wait, is this him? Sheesh. All right. Sheesh. All right, so Jinmu, overrated. I think he's your crazy, over-aggressive projectile player. I'm not a fan of the Jinmu. I think people have been way too high on Jinmu for way too long. I think he's a little overrated. I think Leave is God. This guy, big old check mark for me. Leave's fucking nuts. Like, Leave's insane. Hard carry. Jimmy is good. And I haven't heard amazing things about Kaneki. Kaneki's insane. Is Kaneki insane? Is Kaneki insane? I've heard he's kind of meh. That's what I've heard. I've heard Kaneki's kind of meh at the game. We heard the Kaneki stocks were good. I mean, yeah, he does have a mullet. That's true. That does increase his power by quite a bit. Maybe I'm underestimating Chengdu TPS, but I will never back off the fact that this guy is overrated. Like, I think Jinmu is arguably probably the worst player in this DPS roster. So let's assume Kaneki stocks are high, and I mean, Leave and Kaneki. I mean, if this is a good duo, then shit, like, no shot. What are you saying? Me? I don't know. What you're saying no shot too. Listen, the DPS isn't even my biggest complaint. Okay, listen, I haven't gotten to my biggest complaint yet, right? Their DPS are a big question mark in these two. Leave is very good. Who fills in the second DPS slot and helps Leave carry the team? I don't know. That's a big question mark for a lot of people. Kaneki stonks are apparently high, but that remains to be seen. Yvettle has been along for so long. He's been around for so many dog shit rosters, and he's just still here, just chugging along, just chugging along year by year. Being very, very average. Very average. Not that good, in my opinion. So if this is the guy that's going to play... Why are they all so hot, man? Well, I don't know. So I'm not high on Yvettle. Far Away is a big, big upgrade. Like, Flex support's been a weakness for him for a long time, so Far Away is a big upgrade. I'll give them that. I quite like the Far Away pick. Very good. But I agree. If you replace this guy with how do you spell it like this? By how do you say league? I probably changed my tune a little bit. But unfortunately they have this guy. So listen, they have Gaga, who's known for ball. Ameng, known for ball. Elsa, not very good. I mean, Gaga's good. Absolutely, Gaga's good. Like, I rate Gaga. Elsa's not good, though. Elsa's not good. And, I have this sneaking suspicion that Chengdu is going to find a way to play this guy. Dude, I just have this feeling that week 1, we're going to come out and fucking Ameng is playing the goddamn game. I just have this feeling. I don't know what it is. I just have this weird feeling that Gaga is for sure the better player and Ameng somehow is going to play the game. I don't know. Just a hunch. But Gaga is definitely better. Gaga's good. Okay, listen. The 3 players I rate, Gaga, Far Away, Leave. With potential on Kaneki? Yeah. And maybe Jimmy? I do not rate Yvettle. Don't rate Elsa. And I just don't see a world where I don't know much about Nisha. Maybe I don't know enough really. So it's hard for me to like accurately rate these guys with confidence. But there's only really 3 players that I really rate on this roster, and that's just not enough. There's way too many players, not enough players I rate. Monk is outperforming 1987 right now in scrims. Oh, that's not good. That's not good then, because this is supposed to be like their big pickup. This is supposed to be like their guy. I hope that guy's not. I hope not. Hey, that's all I gotta say. I hope not. I don't rate Chengdu though. I have a feeling they're gonna go back to their old ways and somehow start trolling and playing fucking comps that aren't good. So, Chengdu gonna Chengdu. And to be honest, I'm gonna tier break. There. I think LA Valiant. Yeah. Number 6. Okay, well, since I was debating it, we can just go ahead and just no suspense. Hangzhou Spark, number 6. Oh, double tier break? Yeah, that makes sense. There you go. Hangzhou Spark. Let's talk. So, Godsby, generally throughout his career, very underrated. Architect, good. Shy, good. I quite rate these 3. Actually, this is a hot take. I think Architect might be a little bit overrated. And from what I've seen, Architect plays Tracer for this roster, and I don't really rate Architect Tracer. I don't. Never. Yeah, I agreed. I don't think Architect has ever played bad, but the hype that he's gotten, compared to like how he performs for me in the servers, not amazing. But I rate Godsby, and I rate Shy. Will Architect be better than what I think? Potentially. I do think Architect still has shot up. Yeah, I agree. And Somunsu. So it's very weird because they said he played well in trials. Somusu is a very big question mark for this team. I don't know where he slots into this team at all. And I have no intuition. I can't really say anything about it. Just he's a question mark. That's all I can really say. That's all I can't really say anything else beside that. IDK, Lucio one trick. I don't think anybody really debates that. I don't think anybody really debates that IDK is a Lucio one trick. What supports play? It's gonna be Mika Coldest, right? Is it gonna be Mika Coldest? I feel like from what I've heard, is that MCD is a big leader, like a big leader. So it depends if they need that presence from MCD in the roster. I think there's potential as MCD. I think there's potential as MCD and not Coldest. I think there's a very good shot that MCD plays, because I rate MCD. I think MCD is very good, and from what I've heard, he's a very good leader. He's a big leader presence in the team. So I think their supports are, but even so, like I think their supports are okay, but compared to everybody else, just not that great. So their support, I mean, I don't really see a world where this guy ever plays anymore. I think IDK is kind of. I think he's kind of burned his playing opportunities. I think Mika's going to play 100% of the time, and there's a battle between these two to play. But I'm leaning towards MCD playing, not going to lie. So about tanks. For the entire time this guy's been in the league, I don't think I said this guy's name right once. People just say Gushue. Gushua. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. Gushue. Sorry. I actually agree. I think Gushui is kind of overrated. For me, when I still think of Gushui, I still think of fucking, what was it, 2018 World Cup where he like hard stomped on Winston. But all of his other heroes are very underwhelming. His Winston, nuts. But there's nobody to fill that gap. He's by himself. He needs to play all of the heroes. He needs to play Orisa, Rhine, Winston, Ball. Don't think that's going to happen. Don't think he's going to play that at a very high level. Oh, Takoyaki. Oh, true. That's true. Takoyaki's here. Sorry. It's because he was down here. Was Takoyaki like... He was good from what I remember, but... I wonder, is he like... Is he here to like fill the shoes? Like, you know what I mean? Wait, where did the... Oh, here we go. Actually, don't know. That's an interesting situation to look at. Takoyaki's good, just I don't know. I feel like they always continue to build the team around this guy. Do they replace him? I don't know. That's something to look at. Because I actually have no idea. Because I feel like they always build a team around this guy. Always. I feel like every time they've rebuilt, it's always been Gushui first, everything after. I think there's potential Takoyaki comes in and dethrones him, though. I think there's definitely potential for that. And I think generally from what I remember Takoyaki, I think I would rate Takoyaki higher than Gushui. Okay, chat. Y'all want the hot takes? I think Bernard plays over League. I've just got the sneaking suspicion. I have a sneaking suspicion that Bernard plays over League. I have a sneaking suspicion. I think people severely underrated Bernard from the London season, but he was like a freak. He was a freak. I'll give you guys a hot take. Not hot take. I'll give you a little bit of juice. When Valiant was looking to replace my spot, the number one option was Bernard. They were down horrible for Bernard. They were down so bad. They were down horrendous. They were down catastrophic for Bernard. Ligue A, is it? Okay. I didn't know. Oops. People just underrate Bernard because he got stuck with that fucking London fiasco. That's all. No, I rated him high. Yusef. I rated him high in my power rankings. Bernard and Bianca are the two most underrated off tanks. I could agree with that take. Liga. Dude, people have said 4 different ways to say the name. Liga. Liege. League. Ligue. How the fuck am I supposed to say it? Bianca's trash? Wrong. Liga. I'm saying Lee. His name's Lee from now on. His name's Lee. Sorry. But yeah, so I think if I had to guess the starting roster for the Hangzhou Spark, it's Bernard, Gushui, MCD, Mika, Godsby, no idea. Yo! Demi, thanks for the 5 gifted. Holy shit, thank you so much. 5 gifties, Pog. How do I feel? I'll get to that, Chris. We're actually at 5:13, I think, with that. Shy will play over Godsby? You think so? Yeah, there's potential for that. Okay, I can see that. I think Godsby's underrated, though. I think people generally underrate Godsby. Maybe they overrate him. I don't know. Generally, I think people have underrated him, though. This is just my guess, though. I think there's way too much going on here with this roster, as per usual with the Spark rosters. They're trying way too hard to do this half and half Chinese-Korean shit. Way too many moving pieces. Way too many overrated people who are staying. I just don't rate the roster that much. Just don't really rate it. Okay. Now, here's where the guesses start getting a little fun. Who do you guys think I'm going to put at number 5 for APAC? My dog barking already? Oh. Sorry. Ooh, okay. Okay, so I guess this is a little bit of a hot take from me, huh? A little bit of a hot take. All right. All right. Well, Philadelphia Fusion. Philadelphia Fusion. Let's talk it out. This is mainly for one subset of players here. Mainly for one subset of players. Roster issues or not. Okay. I rate their DPS. Carpe. I mean, Carpe is Carpe. I really like Shockwave. Shockwave is a really good player. And I mean, Rascal. Everyone knows Rascal. So really good flex. I mean, like they've got their, they have their Tracer. EQO is kind of a flex. Shockwave's got some pretty good. I mean, Shockwave plays all kinds of fucking heroes. Like they have the flexibility. They have the Tracer. They have the hit scan. They have all of it. Like DPS, I don't really take any fault with their DPS. I think their DPS are quite good. Specifically these three. I don't think EQO ever plays, in my opinion. Even if EQO didn't have Visa Hell, I don't think EQO plays on this roster. Supports, I mean, barring the Visa issue, if Funny Astro can play or not, which again I don't know. Argue top 3 support line. I mean, these guys are insane. Funny Astro Alarm, very good fucking support line. But obviously, Funny Astro is gonna have issues getting a Visa and playing in time. GQ is good Genji, yeah, but I mean I agree, but again, will that opportunity come where fucking Genji's gonna be hard meta again? That's like the one time he plays. And here's where I take issue with the roster here. This is why I have them so low. I think Mono is one of the most overrated players. I'm low. I'm low on Mono. Mono stonks down. Mono stonks down, and I'm not exactly high on Poco either. I think Poco's good. I think Poco is good. I think he's got a good Diva and a good Zarya, but I'm not too certain on his Sigma. I'm not too certain on his Sigma. But I think Poco's serviceable, but I don't think he's the elite tier player that they needed to push their tank lane to the top. I don't think so. Now, we've already seen this tank line before, right? We've already seen this tank line before, and it was not good. I do not. They must have really been struggling to find somebody who was decent, and I don't understand how, but I don't know how they ended up with this guy again. I don't. We've already seen this tank line. I don't even need to explain anything. This tank line was fucking awful. They were literally opposites. These guys played opposite ways of playing the game. They were not compatible at all. They were not compatible at all. I would take the T1 tank line over Mono Hotba. I agree. For people that don't know, it's show them. I would unironically probably. I actually might agree with that. I could be that could be a little, maybe a little over the top, but I would at least take Kleston over Hoppa. I would take Kleston over Hoppa for sure. I don't know why they're both 7. I don't know. No idea. I've never rated Hoppa, and I've always been kind of down on Mono, and these guys had like a negative synergy together. So like, this is just a recipe to disaster for me. I feel like the tank line's gonna be severely holding them back. Everything else, I like visa issues aside, and this is also a problem with the visa issues. I think everybody saw it though. Like Hoppa was great when he could flex and like play like fucking DPS and shit. But like as soon as 222 lot came in, he was never that great. And from what I saw, he was never good. That good. Sorry. Their coach 9K is great. I mean, I quite like their coaching. I rate 9K. I rate Christopher, and I don't know much about Moby Dick, but Seda, I've also heard very good things about Seda. So I think Philly's got a pretty decent coaching staff. But I have to question this pick. I just have to. I'm sorry. Mono is in a make or break it situation. Mono has to break out of that stereotypical play that he has and be a lot better. Who was the diva for NYXL? It was Hotba at the start and then Bianca towards the back half, I think. I mean, I made the take that I thought Hisu was better than Carpe, but I'm still high on Carpe. Carpe's still good. Like, Carpe's not bad. Carpe's still really good. He's still a top DPS. Oh, the 2020? Oh, you said 2019. It was Mecha. But I'm gonna wrap it up. That's how I feel. I feel like the tank line's a very big miss for the Philly Fusion. That's why I put them at number 5. Now, who do I put at number 4? This is hard. This is hard. This is hard, chat. Let me look at the rosters. All right. I've made up my mind. Oh, you guys are not gonna like this, man. You guys are not gonna like these between these 3. I just don't think you're gonna like it. I just don't think you're gonna like it. Guangzhou Charge. So, Eileen was an MVP candidate last year. Was he not? He was an MVP candidate last season, right? They at least nominated him, right? I think that was a. I think even just being a candidate, I think it was a mistake. I think I'm not as high as Eileen as everybody else is. I think Eileen's he's decent. I think he's okay. But I am gonna make the take that I think it's gonna be Mike Haley and Choi Wan. I'm gonna make that case. You're overrating this team. Well, I mean, where do you want me to put them? I mean, I've already put people down here. I don't think I am. I mean, 4th is average. Like, or yeah, this is 4th. 4 out of 8 is average. And when you have fucking LA Valiant, that's 4 out of 7. Like, I don't know. But I can't, dude. I see, like, listen, like, people coming at me like, oh, well, in scrims, bro, like, scrims only get you so far. Like, I don't, like, all this, like, scrim info that you're giving me, I don't know, right? I haven't kept up with all these scrims. I don't beg everybody for scrim info. I don't know this shit. This is just from what the limited info that I see and the intuition that I have. So I'm just supposed to change everything because some guy in Twitch chat says this guy's getting shit on in scrims. Like, what am I supposed to do with that info? You know, like, what am I supposed to do with that? So, regardless of the scrim rumors, I think Choi Wan is kind of an underrated pickup, in my opinion. I never think he was anything crazy in contenders. I don't think scrim bucks are stupid, but I think there's a limit to like what it shows. I think there's a limit to it. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing with this shirt, but I think Choi Wan is quite good, and I think he's going to be the flex DPS player. And if Mike Haley gets exposed, then, you know, he's probably the one on the chopping block to get replaced by. I mean, there's so many hit scan players in the game. I feel like it's pretty easy to replace this guy if that's the case. So their DPS lineup is questionable. I mean, Mike Haley's songs were very, very. We're kind of overhyped. I mean, I did watch the open scrim. Like, I think Mike Haley was kind of rough around the edges for sure. Like, I don't think he played very well in that scrim. But I'm very high on Choi Wan, and I do think Eileen is good. It's just not an MVP candidate like he was, you know. So Eileen's probably your tracer. Kaylee's probably your hit scan. Choi Wan's probably your flex, and that covers all the bases. So I think they have the base. Can they perform? That remains to be seen. But I think they have a pretty decent DPS lineup. Now, I'm a little biased here, but I'm big on my boy Kariv. I think Kariv is quite good. I still think he has a lot left in the tank. But Mandu. I think Mandu looked quite good in the open scrim for what I remember. I mean, and I think Mandu's always been pretty good. He kind of got stuck in like the Mandu. I don't remember how the Nixel situation panned out between him and Adamo. I need to replace my headset. I think Mandu looked quite good from what we saw, and I've always thought Mandu has been pretty good when he played in the league. So I think the support line's gonna be quite underrated. For Guangzhou. Because it seems like a kind of a random support line to put Kriv and Mandu together, but I think there's a lot of potential there for sure. I don't know, this team for me, when I'm putting them in the middle is because, like, for me, across the board, like, I look at these, all 3 groups, and I don't think it's a bad. I don't think this is bad. I don't think this is bad. I don't, like, none of these, like, for me, there's not any clear weaknesses. Like, maybe people are arguing about Kaylee being a clear weakness, but for me, I rate Rio, I think, higher than the average person is. I think Rio's a good main tank. He's very flexible, and obviously a lot of people in here rate Krong. I think Krong is also very good. It just, for me, in APAC, it's a very average roster. I need to make this smaller. Do I have any confidence in the main support? Yeah, Mandu. I think Mandu's quite good. I think he's slightly underrated. I think Mandu Sunks are up for sure, and I think Kriv's Kriv. I don't think anything about Kriv has changed. I think Kriv is a very good. I think Kriv's definitely in the top half of flex supports in the game. So I quite rate their support line. I like their tank line as well. I think some people are down on Rio, but I think Rio's quite good. And then you have Jihoon, who's the ball specialist. So if Rio has a bad ball and ball becomes meta, then Jihoon steps in and top half. Yeah, I think so. I like Kriv. I think Kriv's pretty good. Dude, Kriv was just on an awful Toronto team. He was just on an awful Toronto team. I think Kriv is quite good. So I think, like, I use potential for, like, what I like about this roster is that, like, you have, like, the people that can, like, slot in the gaps here with the team, but there's also more room to add players mid-season if there's problems, or, like, during the first, like, couple of weeks to, like, add players into, like, certain roles. So I think Charge is good, but not great, and that's why I have them at number, number 4. But I'm gonna do a tier break. Do I do a tier break here? Okay. I kind of see how I want to shape this up. Hold on. Can you predict the next 3? What do you think is the next 3 going to be? What do you think the next 3 are going to be? All right. Well, let me take one more look at the roster before I fully decide. Yeah, no, I think I've decided. I'm actually gonna switch it up. I'm Seoul Dynasty number 3. I don't think New York's ever hyped. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's my, yeah. Yep, number 3. All right. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. So, what's changed with the DPS lineup? Who they lose? Illicit? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Fitz and Prophet are going to play 100% of the time. I thought... The roster may as well look like this. Actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe if you need like a tracer and then like Prophet has to play. Nah, I think this is accurate. That's how I feel about it. I feel like Fitz and Prophet's 100% playtime, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but erase everyone but Prophet. Yeah, just 6 Prophets, please. I'll take 6 Prophets, please. I just feel like it's Prophet Fits. Like, those players are flexible and good enough where they can play like any comp. Maybe there's a scenario where you need SBB to play Tracer, so like one of these two could play something else, but I feel like Prophet plays a Tracer and then Fitz flexes. Maybe it's just scenario SBB plays, but I just think these two are better. I just think they're better players. So if there's a scenario where they have to play SBB, I think they're just putting themselves at a disadvantage. But I quite rate Fitz and Prophet. I mean, it's Fitz and Prophet. They've been very good for the past couple of years. They've been very solid. And Prophet always fucking turns into a different fucking human being in the playoffs. So there's that. There's that to count on. So yeah, SBB is gonna be like your niche, like Tracer fill. I just don't see him playing any other hero in the game besides Tracer. So if there's like a niche meta like Echo Tracer, then maybe SBB plays the Tracer. So now we're on creative and Animo. I wasn't super huge on creative, but I thought creative was good. He had a good Ana. I liked his Ana. I think his Ana was quite good. I don't know. Creative's good. What? How do I feel about creative, actually? Yeah, I like to create, like, in terms of like mechanics, I like creative. I think creative is good. I don't know how I feel about Animo. I feel like Animo's kind of like a forgettable player, but I heard he's good at calling, but then you're kind of filling into like the Western, like, I don't know. I'm just not huge on the support line. If I had to knock anything out of this team, it'd be the support line. But they committed. They dropped Slime. They dropped Toby. They said, "All right, Animo, you have the keys." Animo's nuts. I feel like Animo's just not that great. I could be wrong. That's just the vibe that I got from Animo. I wasn't totally impressed with Animo. But I think creative's good. Animo remain. Dude, again, why is it so big? Jesus. There we go. Animo's a question mark for me. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason they picked Animo. I mean, there's 3 main supports in the roster. I'd hope they picked him for a reason. All right, so we have Marvel, Jester, 2U, and the highlight of this is actually 2U. 2U's nuts. 2U is like the new off-tank on the block. 2U's nuts. 2U stonks are up. Very good player. I quite rate 2U. I think Seoul has finally found their off-tank that's consistently going to play the game. And then you can do the normal whatever, the flexing between these two depending on the meta. So I think their tank line's quite good. But I love 2U. Like, the players that I love on this team are Fitz, Prophet, 2U, and to an extent, I mean, to the extent, like, both these main tanks is kind of like one, like a functioning unit. So I think this is the year where Seoul becomes less inconsistent, to be honest. And that mainly stems from the fact they actually have an off tank that plays the game. So I think this is the year that Seoul finally breaks out of that mold and they're actually like a consistent team. Nope. I think this is the year. I think this is the year. I think this is the year. That's all I can really say. Again, it's kind of one of those hunch things where I think this is the year where they won't be as inconsistent. Well, I mean, this is a no-brainer. I don't even really gotta explain. New York. We're putting New York. New York Excelsior. Now. Hot take probably for some, I'm sure. This is probably a hot take for some, for me to rate them number 2 in APAC. I'm sure that's a hot take. I'm sure a lot of people don't really do that. Jonak is washed. That's just wrong. I think that's just wrong. No. No. Jonak's not washed. And what I'll say is that, like, for me, maybe it's because I was so... Maybe I'm rating too high on the open scrim, but, like, from what I saw, this team was very well... It was very thought out. Like, the players they played, like, all of their DPS had set roles within the team. Like, if you go back and watch that VOD where I watched the open scrim, like... Well, first of all, Guangbung is, like, quite seriously, like... I think he's going to be a contender for, like, Rookie of the Year. I think Guangbung is going to be contender for Rookie of the Year. This guy is not real. This guy fucks. This guy fucks. This guy... Guangzhou is fucking nasty. He's so good. And then all the other players like all fit into the system that they were like kind of like putting together. Can I pull up the VOD where I talked about it like toward the end? I wonder if I can. Hold on. Because I talked about it towards the end of my one of my streams. Let's see here, videos. Oh, I put it on YouTube. Good. This is why you upload stuff. Their support's been great though. I think the support's been super consistent this series. Did I put it towards the end? Earlier, yeah. I think it's like noon or shows. So I just wanted to review the. Where did I say it? Was it? Where it touches. All right. Well, basically the point was I made like New York is one of the few teams that has like 4 DPS, and all of them seemingly already have a set role in their roster where they have the people they know who's gonna play Sombra, then who's gonna play Tracer if somebody else is playing Sombra. Like they have all of their players have set roles here. And every single one of them that played looked just as good as the other player who played. They look just as good. All 4 DPS, like it's very rare where a team puts together 4 DPS players and you feel like, for me, from what I watched, they look confident putting all 4 of them in at any point for different reasons. That is very rare. I feel like to have 4 DPS players that you can utilize perfectly. If you can get that to work, if New York consistently gets the 4 DPS, that's insane to me. Like, to be able to put any of these DPS together in any combination and make them work together seamlessly, that's insane. And then you have the topic of, is Jonak washed, which I absolutely do not think so. I do not think Jonak is washed. I think if New York was going to completely scrap everything about their team, they dropped all their noticeable faces, right? Besides Jonak, right? You drop everybody besides Jonak, I think they still have faith in the guy. He's not washed. Jonak is not washed. Jonak is still good. And Friday came from like one of the worst Korean contenders teams, and he has been really good. He has been super solid for this team. I don't know much about his Mercy, but his Lucio and Brig were both very good. Friday is good. Oh. So Jonak's not washed. Friday's better than be expected. All 4 of their DPS are insane, especially Guangzhou, who's fucking. And then you have your tanks, where I think their tank line's underrated. I think Yakpung got a bad shake because of Toronto. He wasn't that great on Toronto. Toronto itself wasn't that great. But he has come around to contenders, and he has been a super solid main tank in Korean contenders since the Season 2 Toronto debacle. So I think Yakpung is underrated, and I also think Bianca's underrated. Like, I think Bianca, who was it that I agreed with earlier, that Bianca and Bernard are like 2 of the most underrated off tanks in the game? I think Bianca's a very solid. I think this team is just one of the most solid, most well-rounded teams, and it's just something you would not expect because they put together a team of basically not no names, but a bunch of people that people didn't know. Weakest point is tank line. I even struggle to say that maybe, but I feel like across the board, I like their whole team as a unit. Like, I would have a hard time picking out a group and saying this is the weak point, you know? Like, I just... I think New York is super well-rounded. One of the most well-rounded teams in the league. I think they're one of the most well-rounded teams in the league. Need more water. All right. Well, while I'm getting water, that brings us to the last team, and I think this is no surprise. I think anybody who wouldn't put Shanghai at fucking number 1 is crazy. But this is how I'm gonna rate it, by the way. It's gonna be tier break, Shanghai at number 1. These 4 teams, these 2 teams, LA Valiant. That's how it's gonna break. Shanghai Dragons. Valiant's still too high. Oh, you guys want to hear the ASMR? Oh, you guys ready? Oh, yeah. You ready? All right, let's talk about the Dragons. Not a whole lot changed about this team. The big change was Fearless and Stand 1 out for Fate. And what I'll say about I actually think this is an upgrade. I think Fate bounced back from that really shitty Valiant season. I think Fate was fucking great last season. I think Fate was really good last season. I think Fate was really underrated. So now they have arguably a top 5 player in main tank who's well-rounded. You don't need to sub out any players now. Now you have one consistent main tank the entire time. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have skipped through the line like that. But Fate and Void, an insane tank line. I don't really need to talk about this. I think this is a big check mark for me. It's about their DPS. I mean, we have Fleta. Fleta was the fucking MVP last year. Oh, what do you really have to say about the most valuable player of the year? Fleta's Fleta. Lip is Lip. Lip, best Sombra in the game, and I also think he's a lot more flexible than people realize. Urster, I have a sneaking suspicion that Urster's going to come back, and he's going to have a really good bounce back from how he was used in Atlanta, now that he's back with his former coach and he's in a new environment. I think Urster's going to be great. DM is one of the best raw hit scan players in the world, as we've seen before. Their DPS are nuts. Izzy, Shanghai's nuts this year. Even more nuts than last year, in my opinion. I just don't know what to say. Like this roster, this roster is super well rounded, super good tanks, super good supports, super good DPS. Shanghai is just upgraded. I feel like it's an upgraded roster of last year. There's not a whole lot for me to say. It's the same players, just better all around. And this is the these are the Preds. Split. I'm gonna merge these together. I'm gonna merge these together at some point. Preds split. No, I'm not gonna re-explain, but I'm gonna merge these two together. So let's pull up. Let's go back. Full league, and we're gonna completely reorganize. We'll just do it real quick. So we're going Vancouver. I need to pull up the image real quick. No. I'm just doing it real quick. I'm not re-explaining anything. I'm just really quickly going through and doing a full. Yeah. There. Let me pull up the thing. We'll go Paris there. We'll go Valiant Unsorted. We'll put London here. Wow, this is hard. This is a lot harder than I thought. to try and merge these together. Houston? Houston? And then we'll go Chengdu. Spark. Fuel. Boston. Toronto. Yeah, I sped up the APAC. I sped up APAC. I took way too long on NA. How am I gonna put this on YouTube? How do I do that? I took way too long. Philly. I think what I'll do is I'll just upload the full thing, and then I'll what you call bookmark it, where you can just look to each team. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. I'll do a little segment where it shows you which team I'm talking about, so people can skip if they wanna. I'll put timestamps. Okay, let's keep going. Philly. I think I'll go Charge. Atlanta. Washington. Seoul, Florida. New York. I'm actually putting New York top 4. Am I actually doing that? God damn, I'm actually doing that, huh? Glads, Dragons, Shock. Maybe I put Florida above New York. Nixel's in top 10. I think you're wrong. I think Nixel's gonna be the sleeper team of the year. Should I tier these? Should I tier break these? Let's do tier break. Like so? I might even put the APAC teams at the bottom. I'm thinking about no cap. I'm thinking about like putting like London and Houston above these two. That's how low I am on these two teams. God, this is such a fucking I feel like this is a spicy list. I don't know. I feel like this is a spicy list. Spark and Hunters bottom 5 is spicy as fuck. Yeah, it is pretty spicy, eh? I just don't see these guys being good. That's all. All right. Is this the final draft? I think it's the final draft. Well. Oh, is my tier list on Reddit already? Did it already make it there? I'm already on Reddit, eh? Why Glad so high? Glads are nuts. Hmm. To be honest though, I might break it like that. I think I'm gonna break it like that instead. Cause I think these two are just at a tier above. Yeah, I'm doing it like that. Are people mauling about Chengdu? Yeah, they're probably a little too low. They probably are a little too low. It remains to be seen if Glads will step up to this level, but I definitely think they're a top contender to do it. Well, that's it, chat. I'm not changing my mind anymore. I think I've these are my opinions. There's a lot of hot takes in here, but again, I think it's good that that rankings are not so cookie cutter and the same, because every year there's some wild shit that happens. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you could literally fucking like randomize power rankings, and you're probably gonna get closer to people who like try and like think about it. It's like trying to guess a fucking March Madness bracket, man. It's like almost impossible. It's almost impossible to get it perfectly right. Yeah, like the teams like from here to here, I feel like there's so much room for variance. There's so much room for variance in these, like, let me just say that. There's so much room for variance in here. Like, from here to here. maybe minus, like, maybe I'm overestimating. Maybe, like, here to here. There's so much variance, I feel like, in the middle. I feel like the middle of the pack is just crazy. I feel like the middle of the pack is just wild. Alright, now we're playing music. Dude, not listening to music for like 4 hours, it felt so weird.